Home for Christmas. A Military Kisses Christmas Romance. Written by Susanne Ash. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 1. Callie. The scent of pine and cinnamon fills the Juniper Falls Community Center as I arrange paper angel ornaments on the display table. Each one bears a child's Christmas wish written in careful block letters or wobbly cursive. A doll. A soccer ball. Warm mittens. Books about dinosaurs. My heart squeezes a little tighter with each one I hang on the artificial tree we've set up near the entrance. Mama, look at this one. Maisie's dark curls bounce as she leans closer to read. Her sparkly leggings catch the twinkle lights strung across the room. This girl wants the same chapter book series I have. Can we get it for her? I smooth a hand over her hair, warmth spreading through my chest. That's what we're here for, sweetheart. We'll make sure every wish gets matched with a volunteer. She beams up at me, and for a moment, the ache of missing Owen dulls to something manageable. 3.5 years, and moments like this still catch me off guard. The bittersweet knowledge that he's missing all of Maisie's growing up. Mrs. Benson. Rose Delaney waves from across the room, her apron dusted with what looks like flour. She must have come straight from the community center kitchen. Do you need more ribbon? I found a whole box in the storage closet. That would be wonderful, thank you. I call back, then turn to Maisie. Can you help me sort these wish tags by age group? We want to make it easy for our volunteers. She nods seriously, approaching the task with the same thoughtful focus she brings to everything. My little helper. My reason for getting out of bed on the hard mornings. The community center buzzes with pre-holiday energy. Hazel Elliott is holding court near the coffee station, her charm bracelet jingling as she gestures animatedly. The scent of fresh-baked cookies drifts from the teaching kitchen. Outside the tall windows, fat snowflakes drift past the mountain pines, coating Juniper Falls in white. This is my favorite time of year. When the town comes together. When magic feels possible again. Callie, dear. Hazel's voice carries across the room. I've got your first volunteer coming through. Where would you like him? I look up from the clipboard, a polite smile already in place. Just have them. The words die in my throat. The man standing beside Hazel is tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a faded flannel shirt and work boots that have seen better days. His red blonde hair is cut short, and a neatly trimmed beard covers a jaw that's stronger than I remember. But those eyes, blue as a winter sky, those I'd know anywhere. Grant? His name comes out barely above a whisper. His expression shifts from polite neutrality to something I can't quite read. Surprise, maybe. Or recognition tinged with the same shock currently rooting me to the floor. Callie. His voice is deeper than it was at 18, rougher somehow. Like gravel and honey mixed together. I didn't know you were still in Juniper Falls. Hazel's eyes sparkle with barely contained delight, and I realize with creeping horror that she absolutely knew this would happen. She probably orchestrated the whole thing. I never left, I manage, gripping my clipboard like it might anchor me to reality. Grant Camden. Here. After nearly 20 years. Well, isn't this lovely? Hazel claps her hands together. You two know each other. That makes things so much easier. She pulls out her volunteer roster with a flourish. Grant has signed up to help with the Angel Tree Project through Christmas Eve. And Callie, you're our coordinator. Perfect pairing, don't you think? I don't want to impose if there's someone else, Grant starts, but Hazel waves him off. Nonsense. You're already here, and Callie needs all the help she can get. Don't you, dear? I should say no. Should make up an excuse about having too many volunteers already or needing someone with specific skills. But Maisie has noticed the newcomer, and she's watching him with that quiet, assessing look she gets around new people. We can always use help, I hear myself say. If you're sure you have the time. Something flickers in Grant's eyes. I've got nothing but time right now. An awkward silence stretches between us, filled with the ghost of a summer that feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago. The taste of strawberry pie from the copper kettle. Late nights on Uncle Ray's porch, talking about everything and nothing. His hand in mine as we walked through Memorial Park. The way he kissed me goodbye before he left for basic training, both of us trying not to cry. Mama? Maisie tugs on my sweater. Who's this? I snap back to the present, forcing a smile. This is Mr. Camden. He's going to be volunteering with us. I crouch down to her level. Can you say hello? She peers at him from behind the curtain of her curls. Hello. Grant's entire demeanor shifts. He crouches down too, putting himself at her eye level, his movements careful and deliberate. Hi there. What's your name? Maisie. She pauses, then adds, I'm 7. 7's a good age. His voice is gentle in a way that makes my chest ache. Are you helping your mom with the angel tree? She nods, gaining confidence. I'm sorting the wishes by age. So the volunteers don't get confused. That's really smart. He glances at me, something warm in his expression. She looks like you. She has her father's eyes, I say automatically, then wish I hadn't. The words hang there, a reminder of everything that's changed. Grant straightens slowly. I heard about Owen. I'm sorry, Callie. He was a good guy. My throat tightens. Owen and Grant had been in the same graduating class, though they ran in different circles. Thank you. Hazel, sensing the shift in mood, swoops in with her usual perfect timing. Well, why don't we get you two set up with your first batch of wishes? She hands Grant a folder. These are the families who've requested help. Callie has all the details on shopping, wrapping, and delivery schedules. I can walk you through everything, I offer, falling back into coordinator mode because it's easier than dealing with the swirl of emotions seeing him has stirred up. We have an organizational system that works pretty well. I'm good with systems. He accepts the folder, his fingers careful not to brush mine. Tell me what you need. What I need. The question feels loaded with more weight than he probably intended. Right now, we need to match volunteers with wish lists. I move back to the table, grateful for something to focus on besides the way he fills the space differently than he used to. Bigger. Quieter. More settled in his own skin. Then we coordinate shopping trips and wrapping sessions. Everything needs to be ready for the community center gift giveaway on the 23rd. Wrapping sessions? One corner of his mouth quirks up. I should probably warn you, I'm not great at that. Nobody starts out great at wrapping. I pull out a practice roll of paper. But by the end of the season, you'll be a pro. We have standards here in Juniper Falls. Standards. He says it like he's testing the word. I remember that about this town. Our eyes meet, and for a heartbeat, I'm 18 again, dizzy with the possibility of someone seeing me for the first time. Then Maisie bumps against my leg, and reality crashes back. I should get her some hot cocoa, I say, stepping back. Rose made her special recipe. Maisie, want to help me grab cups for everyone? Okay. She takes my hand, then surprises me by looking back at Grant. Do you like marshmallows? His expression softens. I do. Good. Mama puts lots in. She turns to me, dropping her voice to what she thinks is a whisper. He seems nice. We'll see, I murmur, but even I can hear the lie in it. Because the truth is, Grant Camden was always nice. That was never the problem. The problem was that nice boys leave. Nice boys have bigger dreams than small mountain towns. Nice boys break your heart even when they don't mean to. And I've had my heart broken enough for one lifetime.
Chapter 2. Grant. I watch Callie disappear into the kitchen with her daughter, and something in my chest tightens. The way she moves, purposeful, protective, always keeping Maisie close, it's different from the girl who used to race me down the trails behind my Uncle Ray's cabin, laughing when she won. You look like you've seen a ghost. I turn to find Hazel Elliott studying me with those sharp green eyes that haven't missed a thing since she taught me fractions in 3rd grade. Her charm bracelet jingles as she crosses her arms. Not a ghost, I say. I'm surprised, that's all. That Callie Benson is still in Juniper Falls? Hazel's smile is knowing. Or that she looks even lovelier than she did at 18? Heat crawls up the back of my neck. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Your face did all the talking. She pats my arm with the same gentle firmness she used to use when correcting my homework. Though I suppose I should have warned you. But where's the fun in that? You set this up on purpose. I paired volunteers based on availability and compatibility. She pulls out a tin of mints, offering me one. Not my fault if the universe has a sense of timing. I take the mint more out of habit than desire. She's different. She's a widow raising a child alone. Hazel's voice softens. Of course she's different. Grief changes us all. But underneath? She taps her chest, right over her heart. That girl who saw the good in everyone, who made this whole town feel like home. She's still in there. I glance toward the kitchen, catching a glimpse of Callie measuring hot cocoa into cups while Maisie carefully counts marshmallows. The overhead lights catch the gold in her blonde hair, and for a moment, I'm transported back to summer twilight, fireflies dancing while we sat on the dock at the lake. I didn't come back here for this, I say quietly. No, you came back to fix up Ray's cabin and sell it. Hazel's tone is matter-of-fact, not judgmental. I heard from the realtor. She says the place needs a good month of work before it's market-ready. At least. I run a hand through my hair. The roof's got some soft spots, the porch needs reinforcing, and the whole place could use new insulation. Ray would be glad you're the one doing it. He always said you had good hands for building things. She pauses, studying me. Of course, he also said you had a good heart for staying put, if you ever gave yourself permission. Hazel. I'm not meddling, Grant. Just observing. She straightens her cardigan. But while you're here, fixing things up, you might as well do some good for the community. The Angel Tree Project matters. And Callie? Her expression turns serious. That girl could use someone who understands loss. Someone who knows what it's like to carry weight you can't put down. The words hit closer than I'd like. I want to tell her I'm not that person. That I failed too many people when it counted, and that I don't deserve to be trusted with something as precious as Callie's guarded heart or her daughter's trust. But before I can respond, Callie returns with a tray of steaming mugs, Maisie trailing behind with a container of extra marshmallows. Hot cocoa for the volunteers, Callie announces, and her smile is friendly but carefully neutral. Nothing like the one she used to give me when I showed up at her door with wildflowers I'd picked on the way to town. I accept a mug, our fingers brushing for half a second. She pulls back quickly. Thank you. You're welcome. She turns to Hazel. I've got the wish lists organized by family size and gift complexity. Want to help me assign them? Actually, I need to check on the cookie situation in the kitchen. Hazel winks at me before heading off. You two work out the details. I trust you completely. The silence that follows is thick enough to cut. Maisie saves us. Mr. Camden, do you know how to wrap presents? Not very well, I admit. But I'm willing to learn. She considers this seriously. Mama's really good at it. She can teach you. She taught Miss Rose, and Miss Rose was terrible at first. Maisie, Callie says, but there's affection in her gentle rebuke. It's true. The little girl shrugs. Miss Rose said so herself. I crouch down again, drawn by something in Maisie's careful observation of the world. She reminds me of the kids I met during medical missions. The ones who'd seen too much too soon but still held onto hope like a lifeline. I'd appreciate any help your mama can give me, I tell her. Think she'll take pity on a guy who once wrapped a present using duct tape? Maisie's eyes widen. You didn't. I did. My buddy's birthday in Afghanistan. All we had was tape and a care package box. What was the present? Beef jerky and a deck of cards. I smile at the memory. He said it was the best gift he ever got. Because you're friends, Maisie says, like it's the simplest truth in the world. Yeah. Because we're friends. I glance up at Callie and find her watching me with an expression I can't quite read. Something soft and wary at the same time, like she's trying to decide whether to trust what she's seeing. We should probably go over the schedule, she says, breaking the moment. If you're serious about volunteering. I'm serious. I straighten, meeting her eyes. I don't commit to things I can't follow through on. Something flickers across her face. Doubt, maybe, or the memory of a boy who promised to write and then didn't. Who said he'd come back and took 15 years to make good on it. Good, she says finally. Because these kids are counting on us. Us. The word settles into my chest like an ember, warm and dangerous. Then let's make sure we don't let them down. The cabin is quiet when I get back, the kind of silence that used to feel comfortable but now just feels empty. I've been here 4 days, and already the rhythms of solitude are wearing thin. I shrug off my jacket and hang it on the hook by the door. Uncle Ray's hook, still solid after all these years. My toolbox sits open on the kitchen counter where I left it this morning, surrounded by the cabinet hardware I've been sorting through. The upper cabinet over the sink is half disassembled, its door leaning against the wall. I'd started replacing the stripped screws before heading into town, planning to finish the job this afternoon. But that was before I walked into the community center. Before Callie Benson looked up from her clipboard with those warm brown eyes and made my carefully ordered plans feel suddenly insufficient. I pick up my drill, testing the weight of it in my hand. The familiar heft usually grounds me, gives me something concrete to focus on. Today it just reminds me that I'm good at fixing things that are broken, but not so good at fixing myself. The cabinet frame is water damaged where it meets the wall. I discovered that yesterday when I started pulling things apart. The wood is swollen, compromised. I'll need to cut out the damaged section and sister a new support before I can rehang anything. My hands know what to do. Measure the rot. Mark the cuts. But my mind keeps drifting back to the way Maisie looked at me. Curious and careful, like she was deciding whether I was safe. To the way Callie held herself at a distance, protective and professional, nothing like the girl who used to lean into my side like she belonged there. I'm halfway through marking the cut line when my phone buzzes on the counter. A text from my father, "Hope you're not getting too comfortable out there. Remember, you've got options. Don't waste them." I stare at the screen, jaw tight. 5 months since I've seen him in person, and he's still trying to run my life from Arizona. Still disappointed that I chose medical retirement over pushing through another deployment. Still convinced that staying in Juniper Falls, even temporarily to fix up Ray's place, is somehow giving up. I type and delete 3 different responses before settling on, just fixing up the cabin. Taking my time. His reply is immediate, "Time is something you don't have as much of as you think. Your buddy's EMT offer won't wait forever." The offer. Right. 6 weeks ago, my former platoon mate called about an opening at a private medical transport company. Good pay, travel, purpose. Everything my father thinks I should want. Everything I thought I wanted, before I spent the last 4 days in this cabin remembering what it felt like to have roots. Before I walked into that community center today and saw Callie Benson coordinating Christmas miracles for kids she'll never meet. I set the phone face down and forced my attention back to the cabinet. The saw cuts clean through the damaged wood, sending a small shower of sawdust onto the counter I've already swept twice today. I fit the new support beam into place, checking it with my level. Square. Solid. Fixed. If only everything else was that simple. My phone buzzes again, and I almost ignore it. Unknown number. "Hey, it's Callie. Hazel gave me your number. First wrapping session is Friday at 6 p.m., the Copper Kettle. Don't be late." Despite everything, the complicated history, the uncertainty, the voice in my head that sounds like my father saying I should keep moving, I smile. I save her number and type back, "I'll be there. And I'll bring the duct tape, just in case." The three dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, "Please don't." Then, after a pause, "But thanks for volunteering. It means a lot." I read her message 3 times, looking for subtext that might not be there. Trying to figure out if "it means a lot" is about the angel tree or something more. Outside, the afternoon light is already fading, the mountain shadows stretching long across the snow-covered yard. I've got another hour of good light left. Enough to finish securing this cabinet and maybe start on the loose floorboard near the bathroom. But instead, I find myself standing at the window, looking out at the view Uncle Ray loved. The pine trees heavy with fresh snow. The mountains rising in the distance. The narrow drive that leads back to town, to the community center, to a woman who's already building walls I'm not sure I should try to climb. The cabinet can wait until morning. Everything can wait. For now, I let myself imagine what it might be like to stay longer than planned. To be part of something that matters. To see if the girl I remember is still somewhere inside the careful, guarded woman she's become. Outside, snow begins to fall, soft and steady, covering the world in white. The cabin settles around me with familiar creaks and sighs. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I feel something that might almost be peace. Even if I know it can't last.
Chapter 3. Callie. The copper kettle smells like coffee and cinnamon rolls when I push through the door, my arms full of gift wrap and ribbon. Maisie trails behind me, carrying a bag of bows that's almost as big as she is. "Easy does it, sweetheart," I say as she navigates around a chair. "I've got it, Mama." Her tongue pokes out in concentration, the same way it does when she's working on a particularly tricky art project. Sarah Peterson looks up from behind the counter, her apron already dusted with powdered sugar. "Callie, I've got your corner all set up. Move the big table over by the window like you asked." "You're a lifesaver." I set down my load and survey the space. "Is Mr. Grant coming?" Maisie asks, arranging bows by color with the same serious focus she brings to everything. "Yes, he should be here soon." I busy myself unrolling wrapping paper, not ready to examine why the use of his first name makes my stomach flutter. The bell above the door chimes, and I don't need to look up to know it's him. "Am I late?" Grant's voice carries across the diner, and when I do look up, he's standing in the doorway with snow dusting his shoulders and that careful, uncertain expression he wore at the community center. "Right on time." I gesture to the empty chair across from me. "Ready to learn the fine art of gift wrapping?" "As ready as I'll ever be." He sheds his jacket, revealing a dark green Henley that shouldn't make my mouth go dry but absolutely does. "Focus, Callie." Maisie waves enthusiastically. "Hi, Mr. Grant. I saved you the good scissors." His expression softens the way it did before, and something in my chest clenches. "Thanks, Maisie. I appreciate that." He settles into the chair, and I'm suddenly aware of how small this table is. Our knees nearly touch underneath. When he reaches for the tape dispenser, his arm brushes mine. "Sorry," he murmurs. "It's fine." I pull out the first gift. It's a board game for an 8-year-old boy. "Okay, wrapping 101. You want to measure your paper first. See?" I demonstrate, unrolling just enough to cover the box with a little overlap. Too much paper makes it bulky. Too little and you're scrambling to make it work. He watches intently, the same way he used to watch his uncle demonstrate woodworking techniques. Like he's committing every detail to memory. "Cut here," I continue, showing him where to mark. "Then you fold." "Like hospital corners," he says suddenly. "On a bed." I blink. "I guess?" I've never made a bed in a hospital. Army taught us to make them tight enough to bounce a quarter off. He takes the paper, his movements precise and controlled. "Figure the same principle applies. I watch as he folds the paper around the box with mathematical precision, each crease exactly parallel to the edge. He tapes it down with the careful focus of someone performing surgery. How's that? He holds it up for inspection. It's perfect. Almost aggressively perfect. The corners are so sharp they could cut paper. The seams line up with military precision. I search for the right word. Very exact. Is that bad? No, it's just, I press my lips together, fighting a smile. It looks like it's about to report for duty. Maisie giggles, and Grant's eyebrows draw together in confusion. The corners, sir, I say, gesturing at his creation. They're very disciplined. Understanding dawns, and a reluctant smile tugs at his mouth. You're making fun of my rapping. I'm observing your rapping style. I can't help grinning now. It's very you. And what's me about it? Precise. Controlled. I soften the teasing with honesty. But it's good, Grant. Really. Some people can't get the corners right at all. He examines the package, turning it this way and that. It does look a little rigid. A little. I reach over and deliberately crinkle one corner, just slightly. See? Now it looks like a human wrapped it, not a very organized robot. Did you just mess up my work on purpose? I added character. Our eyes meet, and for a moment, we're 18 again, arguing over fishing line. Character is code for not good enough, he counters, but there's warmth in his voice. Character is code for made with love, not a protractor. Maisie looks between us, clearly delighted by the banter. I like character, she announces. Can I wrinkle one too? Absolutely not. Grant pulls the package closer in mock protection. This is my masterpiece. It's going to a kid who'll tear it apart in 3 seconds, I point out. Doesn't matter. It should look good until then. But he's smiling now, real and unguarded, and my heart does something complicated in my chest. We settle into a rhythm wrapping boxes. Maisie adds bows with abandon, unconcerned with symmetry or color coordination, and somehow her chaos makes everything better. Sarah brings us cocoa halfway through, extra marshmallows for Maisie. You three look like you're having fun. Mama's teaching Mr. Grant to be less perfect, Maisie explains seriously. Good luck with that, Sarah says with a knowing smile before heading back to the counter. The comment hangs in the air, heavier than it should be. Because she's right. There's something about Grant that radiates control, like if he just holds everything together tightly enough, nothing can fall apart. I recognize it because I do the same thing. So, Grant says, breaking the silence as he reaches for another box. Tell me about the mistletoe market. The subject change is obvious, but I'm grateful for it. It's my pop-up shop. I run it every holiday season. Handmade wreaths, ornaments, gift baskets, that kind of thing. She makes everything herself, Maisie adds proudly. Even the bows on the wreaths. And the smell good stuff. Potpourri sachets, I translate. It's a mix of what I love. Crafting, decorating, making things beautiful. And it helps with. I trail off, not wanting to mention money in front of Maisie. But Grant nods like he understands. Sounds like a lot of work. It is. But good work. I smooth ribbon across a package, keeping my hands busy. Owen used to help with the heavy lifting like hauling supplies, and hanging things. Now I've got a good system, but it's a lot, he finishes quietly. Yeah. I glance up, surprised by the understanding in his eyes. How'd you know? Uncle Ray used to say the same thing about his woodworking. Good work, but a lot of it. He tapes down a corner with unnecessary focus. Remember how his shop always smelled like sawdust and coffee? The memory hits unexpectedly. Afternoons at Ray's place, watching Grant sandwood while his uncle supervised, the easy silence between them. I remember. You were so focused when you worked. Like the rest of the world disappeared. Still am. A ghost of a smile crosses his face. Guess some things don't change. But plenty of things have, I think. Back then, we had time stretching out before us like an endless summer. Now there's just the weight of everything we've lost in between. He'd be glad you're here, I say softly. Fixing up his place. Something shudders in Grant's expression. I'm not keeping it. Just taking my time getting it ready to sell. The words land like cold water. Of course he's not staying. Why would he? Juniper Falls was a temporary stop for him back then, and it's a temporary stop now. Right, I say, forcing my voice to stay level. That makes sense. Maisie, oblivious to the shift in mood, holds up a package covered in more bows than paper. Look. I made it fancy. It's perfect, baby. I pull her close, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. A reminder of what matters. What's real? Not the ghost of a summer romance that ended 20 years ago. We wrap in silence for a while, the easy camaraderie from earlier replaced by something more careful. Grant's packages remain precise. Mine remain slightly chaotic. Maisie continues to add bows wherever they'll stick. I should probably get going soon, I say when we've finished the last box. I've got 3 wreaths to deliver tonight, and I still need to. I could help. I look up, surprised. What? With the wreaths? He's already standing, gathering his jacket. If you want. I've got a truck. Makes deliveries easier. I should say no. Should keep the boundaries clear, keep him at arm's length. But Maisie's eyes are bright with hope, and honestly, the thought of making 3 stops with a tired 7-year-old in tow sounds exhausting. You don't have to do that, I say, but it's a weak protest. I know. His voice is gentle. But you helped me figure out gift wrapping. Let me return the favor. Grant's truck is old but well maintained, the kind of vehicle that's seen real use. The cab smells like coffee and pine, and there's a dog-eared paperback tucked into the door pocket. Something about wilderness survival. Maisie climbs into the middle of the bench seat. This is cool, Mr. Grant. Does it go fast? Fast enough. He adjusts his mirrors with the same precision he brought to gift wrapping. But we'll go safe speed tonight. Your mama would never let me help again if I drove like a maniac. Mama says maniacs don't get second chances, Maisie announces. I meet Grant's eyes over her head, and his expression is carefully neutral. Your mama's a smart lady. We load the wreaths into the truck bed. 3 gorgeous creations I finished last night while Maisie slept, each one custom ordered with specific ribbon colors and decorations. They're some of my best work, and I can't help feeling a little proud. These are incredible, Grant says, securing them with bungee cords so they won't slide. You made all of these? And 12 more this week. I climb into the passenger seat, suddenly aware of how close we'll be for the next hour. Christmas is my busiest season. I can see why. He starts the engine, and it rumbles to life with a reliable purr. Where to first? I navigate him through town, pointing out houses decorated with lights and inflatable snowmen. Maisie provides running commentary. That one has 17 Santas, she says seriously. That's too many Santas. How many Santas is the right amount? Grant asks, completely earnest. She considers this. 3. 1 for the roof, 1 for the yard, and 1 for inside. That's very specific. I've thought about it a lot. I hide my smile, watching the easy way they interact. Grant doesn't talk down to her or dismiss her observations. He listens like what she says matters, and I can see Maisie blooming under the attention. It's dangerous, how much I like watching them together. The first delivery is to Mrs. Miller's house. She's delighted with her wreath. You have such talent, dear, she says, pressing a tin of cookies into my hands. And who's this handsome helper? Grant Camden, he introduces himself, shaking her hand. Providing transportation. Well, you're doing a wonderful job. She winks at me before closing the door, and I want to sink through the porch boards. The second delivery goes similarly. Enthusiastic praise for the wreath, barely concealed curiosity about Grant. By the time we reach the third house, I'm ready for the evening to be over. But then Maisie falls asleep against Grant's shoulder, exhausted from the day, and something in my chest cracks wide open. "She's out," he murmurs, his voice soft in the darkness of the truck cab. "Long day." I reach over to smooth her hair, and my hand accidentally brushes his arm. "Sorry." "Don't be." He doesn't move away. "She's a good kid, Callie. You're doing an amazing job with her." The compliment shouldn't affect me this much, but it does. "I'm trying. Some days are harder than others." "I bet." He's quiet for a moment, then adds, "Owen would be proud of you." Tears prick my eyes unexpectedly. It's been a long time since someone said Owen's name without tiptoeing around it. "You think so?" "I know so. I didn't know him well, but I'm sure he loved you. And I can see how much you love her." He glances at Maisie, sleeping peacefully between us. "That's what matters." We pull up to my house, the small blue bungalow Owen and I bought right after we got married. Christmas lights line the roof, slightly crooked because I hung them myself this year. The sight of it usually comforts me. Tonight, it feels lonely. "Thank you," I say, starting to gather my things. "For the help." "Callie." Grant's hand catches mine, gentle but deliberate. "I meant what I said earlier. If you need anything, deliveries, heavy lifting, whatever, just ask." I should pull away. Should remind him he's leaving after he sells the cabin, that getting comfortable with his presence is a mistake Maisie and I can't afford. But his hand is warm, and it's been so long since someone offered to carry part of the load. "I'll keep that in mind," I whisper. He releases me slowly, and I scoop up a still sleeping Maisie. Grant walks us to the door, carrying the empty wreath boxes, and waits while I fumble with my keys. "Good night, Callie." "Good night, Grant." I watch from the window as his truck disappears down the street, tail lights fading into the snowy darkness. Maisie stirs in my arms. "Mama," she murmurs, half asleep. "I like Mr. Grant." "I know, baby. Do you like him too?" The question is simple, innocent. But the answer is anything but. "Get some sleep," I whisper, carrying her to bed. Because the truth is, I do like him. I like him too much. And that terrifies me more than anything.
Chapter 4. Grant. The town square is transformed. White lights strangle every tree, every lamppost, every available surface. The enormous blue spruce in the center stands dark and waiting, its branches heavy with unlit bulbs. What looks like the entire population of Juniper Falls has gathered around it, bundled in coats and scarves, their breath fogging in the cold December air. I park on a side street and sit for a moment, hands on the wheel, questioning my sanity. This morning, Maisie made me promise. Actually promise, with her small hand extended for a pinky swear and everything. I'd stopped by the mistletoe market to drop off some wood filler Callie had mentioned needing, and somehow ended up fixing a loose ceiling hook while Maisie did homework at the counter. "You have to come," she'd said, her dark eyes serious. "Everyone goes. And Christmas is better with friends." Friends. Right. That's what we're calling this. I spot them near the front of the crowd, close to the temporary stage where the mayor is testing the microphone. Maisie sees me first, her face lighting up as she waves enthusiastically. "You came." I promised, didn't I? I make my way through the crowd, nodding at familiar faces. Mrs. Miller from last night's wreath delivery. Rob from the hardware store. Hazel Elliott, who gives me a knowing look that makes my neck heat. It feels like coming home, which is exactly the problem. Maisie grabs my hand without hesitation, tugging me toward a white tent strung with lights. "You have to have Miss Sarah's hot chocolate. It's the best in the whole world." The whole world? I let myself be pulled along, aware of Callie following behind us. "The whole world," Maisie confirms solemnly. "I've had a lot of hot chocolate, so I know." Sarah Peterson's face lights up when she sees us approaching. Well, if it isn't my favorite gift wrappers. Regular or peppermint? Peppermint, Maisie declares without hesitation. Then she looks up at me. Trust me. There's something about the way she says it that makes my chest tight. This kid barely knows me, but she's already decided I'm trustworthy. It's a responsibility I'm not sure I deserve. I'll trust you, I say. Sarah hands over 3 steaming cups topped with clouds of whipped cream and crushed candy canes. The first sip is revelation. Rich chocolate with just the right amount of peppermint, sweet without being cloying. Okay, you were right, I admit. This is dangerous. Maisie grins, her nose already dusted with whipped cream. Told you. Callie accepts her cup with a soft thank you. Her eyes meet mine, and I see the same conflict I feel reflected back. The desire to lean into this moment warring with the knowledge that we shouldn't. Come on! Maisie is already moving, weaving through the crowd toward the front. We need a good spot or we won't see when they flip the switch. We follow her to a place near the stage, close enough to see but not so close we're blocking anyone shorter. The square is packed now, the buzz of conversation mixing with Christmas music playing from speakers. Someone selling roasted chestnuts from a cart, and the smell mingles with pine and with smoke from the fire pits scattered around the perimeter. This is my favorite night of the whole year, Maisie announces, bouncing on her toes. Well, except for Christmas morning. And my birthday. And the last day of school. So it's in your top 5? I ask. She considers this seriously. Top 3. Mayor Patterson taps the microphone, and the crowd quiets. He launches into his annual speech about community and tradition, about how the tree lighting represents the beginning of the season, a reminder that even in the darkest time of year, we can create light together. I glance at Callie and find her watching her daughter, whose face is tilted up toward the dark tree with pure anticipation. The love in Callie's expression is so fierce it makes me look away, feeling like I'm intruding on something private. Almost time, Maisie whispers, loud enough for half the crowd to hear. The mayor's speech winds down, and he begins the countdown. The whole town joins in, voices rising together. 10, 9, 8. Maisie's voice rings out clear and joyful. She's practically vibrating with excitement now, her hot chocolate forgotten in her mittened hands. 7, 6, 5. I feel Callie shift closer, her arm brushing mine. I don't know if it's intentional or just the press of the crowd, but I'm hyper-aware of her warmth beside me. 4, 3, 2. Maisie grabs both our hands, linking us together, her small fingers surprisingly strong. 1. The tree explodes with light. Thousands of bulbs burst into brilliance at once, transforming the dark spruce into something magical. The crowd erupts in cheers and applause, but I'm watching Maisie's face. The pure wonder there. The way she gasps like she's seeing it for the first time. It's so pretty, she breathes. I glance at Callie and find her watching her daughter with that same fierce love. Then, as if feeling my gaze, her eyes meet mine. Something passes between us. An acknowledgement that this moment matters more than it should. That standing here, hands linked through Maisie, we look like something we're not. Like a family. Picture time. Hazel Elliott appears out of nowhere, phone in hand. You 3, right there by the tree. Perfect family tableau. Hazel, we're not, Callie starts, but Maisie is already pulling us toward the tree. Please, Mama? I want a picture with Mr. Grant and the tree. Please? Callie's resistance crumbles visibly. She glances at me, and I see the question in her eyes. I should make an excuse, should give her an out. Instead, I nod. We arrange ourselves in front of the glowing spruce. Maisie positions herself in front, and Callie and I flank her like uncertain bookends, leaving a careful distance between us. Closer, Hazel commands, with the authority of someone who's orchestrated hundreds of these moments. Good grief, I can fit a whole other person between you two. This is a photo, not a police lineup. A few people nearby chuckle. I step closer to Callie, close enough that our shoulders touch. My hand settles naturally on Maisie's shoulder, and I'm acutely aware of Callie's hand doing the same on the other side, our fingers almost touching. Much better, Hazel says approvingly. Now everyone say Christmas magic. Christmas magic. Maisie shouts, her smile bright enough to rival the tree. The flash goes off, capturing us in a moment that feels both impossibly real and entirely fake. A family that isn't a family. A connection that can't last beyond New Year's. Perfect. Hazel reviews the photo with obvious satisfaction. I'll text it to you both. She disappears back into the crowd before either of us can protest. We stand there for a moment, suddenly uncertain. The absence of Hazel's direction leaves us exposed, aware of how easily we fell into position, how natural it felt. Can we get more cocoa? Maisie asks, apparently oblivious to the tension. I think you've had enough sugar for one night. Callie's voice is gentle but firm. She rests a hand on her daughter's head. And you have school tomorrow. But we just got here. We've been here for an hour, baby. And it's almost your bedtime. Maisie's face falls, but she doesn't argue. She's a good kid. I wonder if that comes from losing her father young, from learning early that life doesn't always give you what you want. Your mama's right, I say, crouching down to her level. You need to rest up. I heard there might be more spelling words coming. She sighs dramatically but nods. Then, before I can prepare myself, she throws her arms around my neck in a quick, fierce hug. Thank you for coming, she says against my shoulder. It was better with you here. Something cracks wide open in my chest. I hug her back carefully, aware of how small she is, how fragile, how much trust she's placing in someone who's going to leave. Thanks for inviting me, kiddo. She releases me and takes Callie's hand. Can Mr. Grant walk us to the car? If he wants to, Callie says, but she won't meet my eyes. I want to. We make our way through the thinning crowd, Maisie chattering about the tree and how this is definitely the prettiest one they've ever had. When we reach their car, an older sedan that's seen better days, Callie unlocks it and helps Maisie into her booster seat. Buckle up, sweetheart. I'll be right there. She closes the door gently and turns to face me. The Christmas lights reflect in her eyes, making them look almost gold. You're good with her, she says quietly. She makes it easy. Grant. She takes a breath. She's getting attached to you. The words aren't an accusation, just a statement of fact. But I hear the worry underneath, the fear. I know. I know you're leaving. After the sale. And that's okay, that's your plan. She wraps her arms around herself. I need to protect her. She's already lost so much. I can't let her lose someone else. The words hit like a physical blow. Because she's right. I am planning on leaving. I'm supposed to be leaving. That was always the plan. Fix up the cabin, sell it, move on to whatever comes next. So why does the thought of it suddenly feel unbearable? I would never hurt her, I say, and my voice comes out rougher than I intended. Or you. I know you wouldn't mean to. Her smile is sad, understanding, resigned. But sometimes hurt happens anyway, even when no one means it. Even when everyone's trying their best. She's talking about Owen, I realize. About how death took him without warning, without mercy, leaving her to pick up the pieces alone. Callie. I should go. It's late. She moves toward the driver's door, then pauses. Thank you for coming tonight. It meant a lot to her. Just to her? I want to ask. But she's already getting in the car, already putting distance between us in the only way she can control. I watch them drive away, Maisie's small hand waving through the rear window until they turn the corner and disappear into the snowy night. My phone buzzes. A text from Hazel, told you it would be a good picture. The photo loads slowly. When it does, I stare at it for a long moment. We look like a family. Maisie beaming in the center, joy written across every feature. Callie with a soft smile that makes her look younger, less guarded. And me, standing there with my hand on Maisie's shoulder, looking at them both like there's something precious. Like they're mine. I save the photo before I can talk myself out of it. Then I walk back to my truck alone, the taste of peppermint hot chocolate still on my lips and the weight of Callie's words settling into my chest like stones. She's getting attached. The problem is, so am I. And I don't have the slightest idea what to do about it.
Chapter 5. Callie. The old cemetery sits on a hill overlooking town, quiet except for the whisper of wind through bare branches. I've been coming here every December since I was a little girl, carrying a wreath for the small memorial tucked in the far corner. The World War II monument is modest. A simple stone marker listing the names of Juniper Falls men who served, some who came home and some who didn't. My great-grandfather's name is third from the top, James Arthur Benson, 1918 to 1944. I never knew him. He died at the Battle of the Bulge 6 months before my grandmother was born. But Gran used to bring me here, would tell me stories about the letters he sent home, about how he wrote poetry in the margins and drew little sketches of birds he saw in France. I'm sure he would have loved you, she'd say, touching the cold stone like she could reach back through time. He loved beauty and words and people who asked too many questions. I was definitely a question asker. Still am, though I've learned to keep most of them to myself. The wreath I brought is small, made from pine with red berries and a small American flag tucked among the greenery. I hang it carefully on the iron hook someone installed years ago, my fingers clumsy in my gloves. Hey, Grandpa James, I whisper, like I do every year. Merry Christmas. I hope wherever you are, you're warm and safe and writing all the poetry you want. My throat tightens. This year feels different somehow. Heavier. Maybe it's because Maisie asked about him last week, after we looked through old photo albums. My daughter wanted to know if I thought he was proud of us. I didn't know how to answer. How do you explain pride from someone who never got to meet you, never got to see the family tree grow beyond his memory? Callie? I spin around, heart hammering. Grant stands a few yards away, hands shoved in his jacket pockets, snow dusting his shoulders. He looks uncertain, like he's not sure whether he should have said anything. Grant. I didn't. I press a hand to my chest. You scared me. Sorry. He takes a step closer, and I see he's holding a small bundle of white flowers. I didn't mean to interrupt. You're not. I glance at the wreath, then back at him. This is something I do every year. For my great-grandfather. His eyes move to the monument, scanning the names. James Benson? You have a good memory. My uncle used to point out these names when I was a kid. Said we should never forget the people who gave up everything. He's quiet for a moment. He served in Vietnam. Didn't like to talk about it much, but he'd come up here sometimes. I think it helped him feel less alone. The revelation catches me off guard. I didn't know that. Not many people did. Grant moves closer to the monument, his expression distant. He told me once that the hardest part wasn't the fighting. It was coming home and trying to explain to people who hadn't been there why you couldn't just forget and move on. Something in his voice makes my chest ache. Is that how you feel? He's quiet for so long I think he won't answer. Sometimes. Most people want to hear that you're fine, that you've moved on. They don't want to hear about the ones who didn't make it home. About how you still see their faces when you close your eyes. I watch him standing there, broad shoulders slightly hunched against the cold, and I see past the careful control he always maintains. See the weight he carries, the guilt that shadows his eyes when he thinks no one's looking. Who are the flowers for? I ask softly. He glances down at the bundle in his hand like he'd forgotten he was holding them. Sergeant Robert Quinn. We served together in Afghanistan. He nods toward a newer section of the cemetery. He's buried over there. Grew up here in Juniper Falls. Died 2 years ago from complications from his injuries. I'm sorry, I say quietly. I couldn't make it to the funeral. I was still in recovery myself. But I promised his parents I'd visit when I got the chance. He looks at me, and something in his expression is raw, unguarded. Coming back to deal with Uncle Ray's cabin gave me the opportunity to keep that promise. The admission settles between us, heavy with meaning. Fixing up the cabin isn't just about preparing a property to sell. It's also about honoring the dead, about keeping faith with the people who matter. I visit Owen's grave too, I hear myself say. Every Sunday after church. Maisie and I bring flowers, tell him about our week. She doesn't remember him much, but I want her to know him through stories. Through the way we keep showing up. Grant nods slowly. That's good. That's really good, Callie. Some days it feels like enough. Other days. I trail off, not sure how to explain the ache that never quite goes away. Other days I wonder if I'm doing it for her or for me. If I'm keeping his memory alive, refusing to let go. Maybe it's both. His voice is gentle. And that's okay. We stand in silence for a moment, the wind moving through the trees, snow beginning to fall in soft, lazy flakes. Two people who've lost too much, standing among the markers of other people's losses, trying to figure out how to carry the weight without breaking. Do you want company? I ask. To visit Robert? He looks surprised, then grateful. Yeah. I'd like that. We walk together through the cemetery, past old stones and new, past names I recognize and ones I don't. The Quinn grave is in a newer section, the stone still sharp-edged and clean. Someone has left a small American flag, and there's a toy soldier propped against the base. Grant kneels in the snow, setting the flowers carefully beside the flag. His lips move, but I can't hear what he's saying. I step back, giving him privacy, but I can see his shoulders tense, see the way he bows his head like he's carrying something too heavy to hold upright. After a moment, he stands and steps back, hands shoved deep in his pockets. He would have liked you, Grant says quietly. Robert. He had this thing about people being genuine. Said he could always tell when someone was faking it, putting on a brave face. You don't do that. I do sometimes, I admit. For Maisie. For the customers at the shop. For everyone who wants me to be okay so they don't have to feel uncomfortable. But not right now. No. Not right now. He turns to face me fully, and the look in his eyes makes my breath catch. Thank you for that. For not pretending. Thank you for the same. The snow is falling harder now, catching in his red blonde hair, dusting his shoulders. He looks like something out of a winter photograph. Solid and real and heartbreakingly temporary. We should probably get out of the cold, I say, but I don't move. Neither does he. Callie, I don't. The word comes out sharper than I intend. I soften it with a sad smile. Don't say whatever you're about to say. Not here, with them watching. I gesture vaguely at the graves around us, but we both know I mean more than that. I mean Owen and Robert and Grant's uncle and my great-grandfather and all the ghosts we carry with us. Okay, he says quietly. But eventually. Eventually we both go back to our lives. I pull my coat tighter. You sell the cabin and leave. I keep running my shop and raising my daughter. That's how this works. Is it? His voice is so soft I almost don't hear it. I make myself look at him, really look at him. At the hope and fear and wanting written across his features. At the way he's standing there like he's waiting for permission to stay, to be something more than temporary. And as much as I'm fighting it, I want to give it to him. Want to say that maybe the rules don't have to be what I've convinced myself they are. That maybe I could risk my heart one more time, trust that not everyone leaves, that some people stay even when staying is hard. But then I think of Maisie asking about her daddy, of the empty space at our dinner table, of 3.5 years of learning to be whole on my own. Yes, I whisper. That's how this works. Something shudders in his expression. He nods once, sharp and military. Right. Of course. Grant. I should let you get home. It's getting cold. He's already stepping back, putting distance between us. Thanks for the company. Wait. I catch his arm before I can stop myself. I didn't mean, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to protect us. Both of us. I know. His hand covers mine briefly, warm even through our gloves. But sometimes protection is just another word for fear. He walks away before I can respond, his footsteps crunching through the snow. I watch until he disappears around a bend in the path, then sink onto the cold bench beside Robert's grave. I'm doing the right thing, I whisper to the empty air. Aren't I? The only answer is the wind and the snow and the weight of all the names carved in stone around me. People who loved and lost and tried their best with what they had. I pull out my phone and look at the photo from the tree lighting. The three of us, smiling like we belong together. Like we're a family. My thumb hovers over the delete button. I can't do it. Instead, I close my phone and head back down the hill toward home. Toward safety. Toward the life I've built from the wreckage of loss.
Chapter 6. Grant. My phone rings while I'm replacing the warped floorboards in Uncle Ray's bathroom. I almost don't answer. My hands are covered in sawdust and the caller ID shows my mother's number. But it's been 2 weeks since we last talked, and ignoring her only makes the next conversation harder. I wipe my hands on my jeans and answer. Hey, Mom. Grant. Oh, it's so good to hear your voice. Her warmth comes through immediately, the way it always does when Dad isn't hovering nearby. How are you? How's the cabin? I'm good. Cabin's coming along. I lean against the doorframe, looking out at the snow-covered pines. Roof's solid, but there's more water damage than I expected. It'll take a while to fix it all up. That's good, sweetheart. Well, not the water damage, but that you have time to do it right. She pauses. Your father says hello. The lie is gentle, well-meaning. Dad probably doesn't even know she's calling. Tell him I said hi back. Another pause, this one waited. So, have you seen anyone from high school? Made any reconnections? There it is. Mom has always been a romantic, always hoping I'd find someone to settle down with. It's one of the few things she and Dad disagree on. He thinks relationships make you soft, distracted. She thinks they make you human. A few people. I keep my voice carefully neutral. It's a small town. Hard not to run into folks. Anyone special? Callie's face flashes through my mind. The way she looked at the cemetery, snow catching in her blonde hair, her brown eyes soft with understanding and fear. The careful distance she maintains even as she lets me help with wreaths, even as her daughter hugs me goodnight. Mom. I'm not prying, she says quickly. I just worry about you, honey. You've been alone for so long. I'm fine with alone. No one's fine with alone. Not really. Her voice gentles. Your uncle wasn't fine with it, even if he pretended otherwise. He just got good at hiding the loneliness. The words hit harder than she probably meant them to. Because she's right. Uncle Ray spent decades in that cabin by himself, convinced he was protecting people from his darkness. And maybe he found peace in the solitude, but I saw the way he lit up when I visited, the way he seemed to breathe easier with company. There's someone, I hear myself say. But it's complicated. Complicated how? She's got a kid. She's a widow. And I'm leaving sooner or later. The words feel hollow even as I say them. It wouldn't be fair to start something I can't finish. Mom is quiet for a long moment. Is that what you want? To leave? That's the plan. That's not what I asked. Her voice is soft but insistent. Grant, you've spent your whole life following plans. Following your father's expectations, following orders, following the path that seemed right. But what do you want? The question sits heavy in my chest. What do I want? I want to wake up to mountain views and pine-scented air. Want to fix things with my hands and watch them become whole again. Want to stand in Callie's shop and listen to Maisie's observations about the world. Want to kiss Callie the way I almost did at the cemetery, consequences be damned. Want to stay. I don't know, I say finally. Well. Mom's voice warms with something like hope. Maybe it's time to figure it out. And Grant? Whatever you decide, I'm proud of you. You know that, right? My throat tightens. Yeah, Mom. I know. Good. Now go call that complicated woman and ask her to coffee. Or hot chocolate. Whatever you mountain people drink. Despite everything, I smile. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Life's short, baby. Your uncle would tell you the same thing. We say goodbye, and I sit there in the half-renovated bathroom, phone still in my hand, her words echoing in my head. What do you want? The community center smells like pine and hot cider when I arrive for the angel tree shift. Callie's already there, organizing gift bags on a long table, her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. She's wearing jeans and a deep green sweater that brings out the gold in her eyes. She looks up when I walk in, and for a split second I see her face light up like she's happy to see me. I blink and her expression changes to carefully constructed neutrality. Hey, she says. Right on time. Military training. I shed my jacket, hanging it on the coat rack. Where do you need me? Wrapping station. She gestures to a table covered in paper and ribbon. We've got 15 gifts that came in today. All need to be wrapped and tagged by tomorrow for delivery. 15. Got it. I move to the table, and she follows, maintaining that careful distance she's perfected since the cemetery. We work in silence for a few minutes. I've gotten better at wrapping. My corners are still too precise, but I've learned to add Callie's character by deliberately crinkling edges, letting ribbon curl naturally instead of forcing it into perfect spirals. You're getting the hang of it, she says, inspecting my third package. High praise. She laughs, and the sound eases something in my chest. This is what I want. This easy back and forth, the comfortable silence broken by gentle teasing, the way we've learned to work together without getting in each other's way. So, I say, cutting paper for the next gift. Maisie mentioned something about a Christmas pageant at school? Callie's face softens immediately. Next Thursday. She's playing a sheep in the nativity scene. She's very excited about her costume. A sheep? Complete with cotton ball wool glued to a headband. It's very serious business. She wraps ribbon around a box. She's been practicing her bow for weeks. I bet she's the best sheep in the production. Obviously. Callie's smile is genuine now, unguarded. Though she's worried the cotton balls will fall off during the performance. I've tried to reassure her that I used industrial strength glue, but she remains skeptical. 7-year-old perfectionist? 7-year-old who's seen too many of my craft projects fall apart. She ties off the ribbon with practiced ease. I'm good at making things pretty. Making them structurally sound is another story. That's what you've got me for. The words slip out before I can stop them, too familiar, too presumptuous. Callie's hand still. Grant. I just meant for the angel tree stuff, I say quickly. The volunteer work. Right. Of course. She returns to wrapping, but the easy atmosphere has shifted, grown complicated. We work in silence for a few minutes, the only sounds the snip of scissors and the rustle of paper. I'm trying to figure out how to fix this, how to get back to the lightness we had moments ago, when she speaks. Owen never learned to wrap gifts. Her voice is soft, almost hesitant. He'd hand me things in shopping bags and tell me to make them pretty. Said that was my department. It's the first time she's volunteered information about him without me asking. I keep my hands busy, giving her space to continue if she wants. He was good at a lot of things. Building, fixing, making people laugh. But wrapping paper defeated him. She smooths a piece of tape with unnecessary focus. The first Christmas after he died, I had to wrap Maisie's presents alone. I kept waiting for him to show up with his shopping bags and that sheepish grin. "I'm sorry," I say quietly. "Me too." She looks up, and her eyes are bright but not crying. "But I did it. And I've done it every year since." It gets a little easier each time, learning to be both parents. Learning to fill the spaces he left. "You're doing an amazing job." Most days. She ties off another bow. Some days I wonder if I'm screwing her up completely. If keeping her so close is protecting her or just teaching her to be afraid of losing people. The admission hangs between us, vulnerable and raw. I set down my scissors and lean against the table, giving her my full attention. "For what it's worth," I say. Maisie seems like a remarkably well-adjusted kid. Curious, kind, thoughtful. That doesn't happen by accident. She's amazing. Callie's voice is thick with love and pride. Sometimes I look at her and can't believe I get to be her mom. That I get to watch her grow up, see the person she's becoming. Owen would be proud of both of you. You keep saying that. She finally meets my eyes. Why? Because it's true. I choose my words carefully. I didn't know him well, but I knew he loved you. And love like that doesn't just disappear because someone's gone. It lives on in the way you love your daughter, the way you show up for this town, the way you keep making beauty even when things are hard. A tear slips down her cheek, and she swipes it away quickly. I'm supposed to be the put-together coordinator, not the one crying over wrapping paper. Sometimes wrapping paper is just wrapping paper. I hand her a tissue from the box on the table. And sometimes it's everything else underneath. She takes the tissue, dabbing at her eyes. You're very wise for someone who uses hospital corners on presents. I contain multitudes. That startles a laugh out of her, watery but real. Did you just quote Walt Whitman? Uncle Ray had a thing for poetry. Used to read it out loud while he worked. I returned to my wrapping, giving her space to compose herself. Said it helped him think. My great-grandfather wrote poetry. In the margins of his letters home from the war. She's wrapping again too, her hand steady. I used to wish I'd inherited that gene. Instead, I got the crafting obsession and the inability to pass a clearance sale without buying ribbon. Could be worse traits. Could be better ones. We fall back into rhythm, the awkwardness fading into something more comfortable. After a while, she starts telling me about the pageant rehearsals, about how Maisie's best friend is playing a wise man and keeps forgetting her lines. I tell her about the time my unit tried to do a Christmas skit in Afghanistan, how it dissolved into chaos when someone's fake beard caught fire. Please tell me you have pictures, she says, laughing. Destroyed the evidence. Some things are better left unrecorded. That's such a shame. I would pay good money to see that. Your loss. We rap and talk and laugh, and somewhere in the middle of it all, I realize this is what my mom was asking about. This feeling of fitting, of being seen and known and accepted anyway. Of looking forward to Tuesday evening shifts not because of the volunteer work but because of the woman I get to spend time with. Of feeling home in a way I haven't since I was 18 and stupid enough to think leaving was the brave choice. Grant? Callie's voice pulls me back to the present. You okay? You got quiet. Yeah. Just thinking. About staying. About what it would mean to put down roots here. About whether I'm brave enough to try. About how this is the first place I've felt like myself in a long time, I say instead. She looks up from the ribbon she's curling, surprised by the honesty. Really? Really. I gesture around the community center, but we both know I mean more than the building. The army gave me purpose, structure. But this? Wrapping gifts for kids I'll never meet, helping with your wreaths, fixing things just because they need fixing? I meet her eyes. This feels like living, not just surviving. Her expression softens. I know what you mean. After Owen died, I went through the motions for so long. getting Maisie to school, running the shop, checking boxes. It took a while to remember that living is supposed to feel like something. And now I'm trying. She ties off a bow with practiced ease. Some days are better than others. But I'm trying. That counts for a lot. She's quiet for a moment, then, "You're really leaving after you sell the cabin?" The question catches me off guard. That's the plan. Right. The plan. She returns to rapping, but something has shifted in her posture. "Well, we'll miss having you on the volunteer roster." Just the volunteer roster? I want to ask. But her walls are back up, and I don't have the right to tear them down. "I need to pick up Maisie from her friend's house," Callie says. She gathers her coat and purse, movements brisk and purposeful. "Thank you for your help tonight. Same time next week?" "I'll be here." She pauses at the door, looking back. "Grant? What you said earlier, about love living on? That was, thank you. For understanding. Anytime." She slips out into the snowy night, and I stand there surrounded by wrapped gifts and the lingering scent of her perfume. Something warm and spicy, like cinnamon and vanilla. My phone buzzes. A text from my buddy with the EMT job offer. "Hey man, need an answer soon. Position won't stay open forever. You in or out?" I stare at the message for a long moment, my mom's question echoing in my head. "What do you want?" "I want this." Tuesday's wrapping gifts. Callie's laugh. Maisie's hugs. The way this town feels like it's been waiting for me to come home. But wanting something and being brave enough to reach for it are two different things. I type back, still thinking. "Need another week or two." His response is immediate. "You've got until New Year's." After that, I'm moving to the next candidate. New Year's. To stick to the plan to finish the cabin, put it on the market, and move on to whatever comes next. The deadline suddenly feels like a countdown to losing everything I didn't know I wanted. I leave the community center and head out into the cold December night, no closer to an answer than I was this morning. But for the first time in years, I'm starting to understand the question.
Chapter 7. Callie. The mistletoe market is quiet on Wednesday afternoon, the lull between lunch and the after-school rush. I'm restocking pine-scented candles when the bell chimes and Hazel Elliott sweeps in, bringing cold air and the scent of peppermint. "Callie, dear. Just the person I was hoping to see." She unwinds her scarf, her charm bracelet jingling. "Do you have a moment?" "Of course." I set down the candles and move behind the counter. "What can I help you with? Last-minute wreath order?" "Nothing like that." She pulls out her ever-present tin of mints, offering me one. "I wanted to check in. See how you're doing." The casual tone sets off warning bells. Hazel doesn't do casual check-ins. She does strategic conversations disguised as casual check-ins. "I'm fine," I say carefully. "Busy with holiday orders, but that's normal for December." "And the angel tree volunteering? That's going well?" "Yes. Grant's been very helpful. I busy myself straightening already straight ribbon spools. He's good at following directions." Hazel pops a mint in her mouth, studying me with those sharp green eyes. "He seems like a good man. Steady. Kind. The kind who shows up when he says he will." "He is all those things." Maisie seems quite taken with him. My hand still on the ribbon. "She's friendly with everyone." "Not like this." Hazel's voice gentles. "I saw them at the tree lighting, Callie. The way she looked at him. The way you both looked at him. Heat crawls up my neck." "I don't know what you think you saw." "I saw 3 people who fit together." She leans against the counter, her expression kind but serious. "And I saw you trying very hard to pretend you didn't notice." I want to deny it, to brush it off with a laugh and change the subject. But this is Hazel, who taught me in 3rd grade, who held me when I sobbed at Owen's funeral, who's watched me rebuild my life piece by careful piece. It doesn't matter what I noticed, I say quietly. He's leaving as soon as he sells the cabin. Is he? Something flickers across her face. I suppose he is. In fact, I heard from Martha at the real estate office that he might already have interested buyers lined up. Could sell and be gone by early February. The words hit like ice water. Oh. I thought you should know. Hazel's voice is gentle, apologetic. I'd rather you be prepared than blindsided. You've had enough surprises for one lifetime. February. Somehow, the idea of him leaving had felt distant, abstract. But February is real, immediate. A handful of weeks and he'll be gone, the cabin sold, this whole interlude over like it never happened. Thank you for telling me, I manage. Callie. I should finish restocking. I turn away, grabbing more candles with hands that aren't quite steady. Before the afternoon rush. Hazel is quiet for a moment, then I hear her sigh. I'm not trying to hurt you, honey. I just don't want you to get in too deep with someone who's already got one foot out the door. I'm not in too deep. We're volunteers working together. That's all. The lie tastes bitter, but I cling to it anyway. If you say so. Hazel gathers her scarf, preparing to leave. But Callie? Sometimes protecting yourself means missing out on something beautiful. Just think about that. The bell chimes as she leaves, and I stand there surrounded by candles and wreaths and all the beautiful things I've made, wondering why beauty never seems to last. Grant shows up at closing time, just as I'm turning the sign on the door. Hey, he says, snow dusting his shoulders. I was driving by and saw your lights still on. Thought you might need help carrying things to your car. 3 days ago, I would have smiled, would have let him in, would have accepted the help gratefully. 3 days ago, I didn't know he already had buyers interested, didn't have Hazel's words echoing in my head about Maisie getting too attached. About me getting too attached. I'm fine, I say through the glass door. Everything's already loaded. He frowns slightly. You sure? I've got time. I'm sure. Thank you though. I keep my voice polite, professional. The same tone I use with customers I don't know well. Something shifts in his expression. Callie, did I do something wrong? Yes. No. You're leaving and I'm letting myself care anyway. Of course not. I'm just tired. Long day. He studies me through the glass, and I force myself to hold his gaze even though I want to look away, want to hide from whatever he's seeing. Okay, he says finally. Well, get some rest. I'll see you at the next angel tree shift? Maybe. I might need to send Hazel instead. I've got a lot of wreath orders backing up. It's not a lie, exactly. I do have orders. But I also have time to fulfill them and still make the volunteer shift. We both know it. Right. His jaw tightens. Well, let me know if you need anything. I will. Good night, Grant. I lock the door before he can respond, turning away so I don't have to watch him walk back to his truck. So I don't have to see the hurt I know is written across his face. When I hear his engine start and fade into the distance, I sink onto the stool behind the counter and press my palms against my eyes. This is for the best, I whisper to the empty shop. For Maisie. For me. But it doesn't feel like the best. It feels like cowardice. A few minutes later my phone buzzes. A text from Grant, if I did something to upset you, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. I stare at the message for a long moment, thumb hovering over the keyboard. I could tell him the truth. That Hazel's warning scared me, that the thought of him leaving is already hurting even though he hasn't gone yet, that I'm terrified of what it means that Maisie asks about him every day. That I'm terrified of what it means that I think about him every day. Instead, I type, you didn't do anything wrong. I really am just tired. See you soon. Another lie. I'm getting good at those. His response comes quickly, okay. Take care of yourself, Callie. I set the phone down and look around my shop. I stare at the wreaths I've made, the ribbons I've arranged, and the careful beauty I've constructed to make other people's holidays bright. All of it temporary. All of it meant to be given away, taken home, enjoyed for a season and then discarded when January comes. Maybe that's all this thing with Grant ever was. A seasonal warmth, beautiful while it lasted, but never meant to survive past the new year. The thought should comfort me. Instead, it makes me want to cry. 2 days later, I'm closing up when Maisie asks the question I've been dreading. Why doesn't Mr. Grant come to the shop anymore? We're walking to the car, her hand in mine, her backpack bouncing against her shoulders. The streetlights are just coming on, casting everything in soft gold. He's been busy, I say carefully. Working on his uncle's cabin. But he used to stop by. Even when he was busy. She looks up at me, her dark eyes too perceptive. Did you have a fight? No, sweetheart. We didn't fight. Then why are you sad? I stop walking, crouching down to her level. What makes you think I'm sad? You do that thing with your mouth. She touches the corner of her own lip. Where it goes down even when you're trying to smile. You do it when you talk about Daddy. The observation hits me square in the chest. 7 years old, and she's learned to read my grief like a language. I'm okay, baby. Just a little tired. You're always tired when you're sad. She wraps her arms around my neck, her small body warm against mine. I miss Mr. Grant too. Tears prick my eyes. Maisie. He's nice, Mama. He listens when I talk about penguins, and he doesn't make his rapping perfect anymore because you taught him about character. She pulls back to look at me. And he makes you smile the real way. Not the tired way. It's complicated, sweetheart. Because he's leaving? She says it matter-of-factly, like she's always known. Miss Hazel told me he's selling his uncle's house. That he'll probably go back to being a soldier or something. Of course Hazel told her. Hazel probably thought she was being helpful, preparing Maisie the same way she prepared me. He was never going to stay, I say gently. You knew that, right? That he was just here to fix up the cabin? I know. Her voice is small. I just thought if we were nice enough, if Christmas was good enough, maybe he'd want to stay anyway. Oh, my sweet girl. My hopeful, hurting girl who's learned too young that people leave. Sometimes people have to go even when we want them to stay, I whisper, pulling her close again. It's not because we weren't good enough. It's just because they have other places they need to be. Like Daddy. The words are so soft I almost don't hear them. What? Daddy had to go to heaven. Even though we wanted him to stay. She's quiet for a moment. Is Mr. Grant going to heaven too? No, baby. No. I hold her tighter. He's just going to live somewhere else. But he's not. Not for a very long time. He's going to be fine. Healthy and safe and fine. But we won't see him anymore. Probably not. She nods against my shoulder, accepting this with the resignation of a child who's already learned that wanting something doesn't make it stay. We drive home in silence, and I help her with homework and make dinner and go through all the familiar evening routines. But my mind keeps circling back to her words. I thought if Christmas was good enough, maybe he'd want to stay. Isn't that what I've been thinking too? That if I'm careful enough, guarded enough, I can protect us both from the hurt of him leaving? But Maisie's already attached. Already hoping. Already counting on a miracle I can't give her. And the worst part is that so am I. That night, after Maisie's asleep, I pull up the photo from the tree lighting. The three of us, smiling like we belong together. Like we're a family. I should delete it. Should stop torturing myself with possibilities that were never real. But I can't. Because for that one moment, standing in the glow of Christmas lights with Grant's arm nearly touching mine and my daughter's hand in his, it felt real. It felt like home. And now I have to figure out how to let it go before it destroys us both.
Chapter 8. Grant. Something's wrong, and I can't figure out what. Callie's been avoiding me for almost a week now. She skipped the last angel tree shift, sent Hazel in her place with a vague excuse about wreath orders. When I stopped by the mistletoe market yesterday, she was polite but distant, barely making eye contact as she rang up my purchase. Candles I didn't need, bought just for an excuse to talk to her. Today I'm trying again. I've got a legitimate reason this time. I noticed a loose hinge on her storage room door last week. The kind of thing that'll get worse if it's not fixed. The kind of thing I would have fixed without asking, a week ago. Before whatever shifted between us. The shop bell chimes when I push through the door. Callie's behind the counter, helping an elderly woman decide between two different wreaths. She glances up, and for a moment I think she's happy to see me. Then her expression shifts to the careful neutrality she's perfected. "I'll be with you in a minute," she says, her voice professionally pleasant. "Take your time." I move toward the window display, pretending to examine ornaments while really just watching her work. She's good with customers. Patient, attentive, genuinely interested in helping them find exactly what they need. The elderly woman finally decides on both wreaths, and Callie wraps them with care, adding extra ribbon at no charge. "You're an angel," the woman says, patting Callie's hand. "My daughter will love these." "I hope you both have a wonderful Christmas, Mrs. Patterson." The bell chimes as the customer leaves, and suddenly we're alone. Callie busies herself straightening the counter, not looking at me. "How've you been?" I ask, moving closer. "Busy. Holiday rush." She shuffles papers that don't need shuffling. "What can I help you with? Looking for more candles?" The polite stranger tone stings more than anger would. "Actually, I came to fix that storage room door with the loose hinge. Won't take more than 10 minutes. "Oh." She finally looks at me, and I catch a glimpse of something raw in her eyes before she looks away. "That's nice of you, but I can handle it." "Callie." I step closer, lowering my voice. "What's going on? Did I do something to upset you?" "I told you before, you didn't do anything wrong." "Then why does it feel like you can barely stand to be in the same room with me?" She flinches. "That's not fair." "Maybe not. But it's true." I run a hand through my hair, frustration building. "We were fine. Better than fine. And then suddenly you're avoiding me, making excuses, treating me like a stranger. If I did something, just tell me. Let me fix it." "You can't fix this, Grant." Her voice cracks slightly. "Some things can't be fixed with a drill in 10 minutes. "Then what?" The bell chimes again. A young couple enters, laughing about something, and Callie immediately shifts into customer service mode. "Welcome to the mistletoe market. Let me know if you need any help." I stand there, dismissed, watching her charm these strangers while keeping me at arm's length. After a moment, I head to the storage room and fix the door anyway. Because that's what I do. I fix things, even when I'm not wanted. Especially when I'm not wanted. When I finish, Callie's still with the couple, helping them choose ornaments. I catch her eye, hold up my screwdriver to show the job's done. She nods, mouths thank you, and returns to her customers. I let myself out without saying goodbye. I'm halfway back to the cabin when I spot Hazel Elliott coming out of Brooks' General Store, arms full of shopping bags. "Grant!" She waves me over. Perfect timing. "Can you help an old woman with these?" "You're not old, Hazel." But I take half her bags anyway, following her to her car. "Old enough to know when someone's moping." She unlocks the trunk. "You've been walking around town like a kicked puppy for days. Want to tell me what happened?" "Nothing happened." That's the problem. I set the bags in the trunk more forcefully than necessary. Callie won't talk to me. Won't tell me what I did wrong. Just keeps pulling away. Hazel is quiet for a moment, her expression thoughtful. She's scared. Of what? Me? Of losing people. She closes the trunk gently. Callie lost her husband suddenly, without warning. Owen left for work one morning and never came home. She had no chance to prepare, no chance to say goodbye. Just one phone call and her whole world collapsed. The weight of that settles over me. I know that part. Do you? Hazel's green eyes are kind but penetrating. Because what you might not know is that for months after, she couldn't breathe if Maisie was 5 minutes late from school. Couldn't sleep unless she checked the locks 3 times. Lived in constant terror that everything good in her life could disappear in a heartbeat. I lean against her car, the cold metal grounding me. She's gotten better though. She seems together. She is together. Beautifully together. Hazel pulls out her mint tin, offering me one out of habit. But underneath? She's still that terrified woman who learned the hard way that loving someone means risking losing them. And you, Grant Camden, are a man with one foot already out the door. The accusation hits hard because it's true. I never lied to her about leaving. No, you didn't. And she never lied to herself about the risk of letting you in. Hazel's voice gentles. But hearts don't care about logic, do they? They care about 7-year-old girls who light up when you walk in a room. About wrapping gifts together and sharing stories and feeling less alone. About all the small ways you've both been pretending this is just temporary when it stopped being temporary weeks ago. So what am I supposed to do? Leave now, before it gets worse? Is that what you want? I don't know what I want. The admission comes out rough, frustrated. I came here to fix up a cabin and move on. Clean break, fresh start. But now you've remembered what it feels like to have roots, Hazel finishes. What it feels like to matter to people. To have people matter to you. She pats my arm. That's terrifying for someone who's spent most of his life believing he doesn't deserve to stay. I want to argue, but the words stick in my throat. Because she's right. I've spent years proving my worth through service, through sacrifice, through being useful. The idea of staying just because someone wants me here, not for what I can do, but for who I am, feels impossible. She's protecting herself, Hazel says softly. And protecting Maisie. You can't fault her for that. I'm not trying to hurt them. I know. But you're leaving anyway. She opens her car door. The question is, do you want to? Or are you leaving because you think that's what you're supposed to do? She drives away before I can answer, leaving me standing in the parking lot with questions I've been avoiding for weeks. My phone buzzes. I pull it out, expecting another text from my father. Instead, it's Jake Martinez, the buddy from my unit who offered me the EMT position. Hey man. Got some news. Things are moving faster than expected. They need someone by mid-January at the latest. I know that's sooner than you wanted, but the pay's better now. Signing bonus included. You in? I stare at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Mid-January. Barely enough time to finish the cabin repairs, let alone. Let alone what? Stay? Put down roots? Ask Callie to take a chance on someone who's spent his whole life leaving? Another text comes through. I know it's fast, but this is a good opportunity. Steady work, good benefits, travel stipend. Everything you said you wanted. Need an answer ASAP. Can you commit? Can I commit? The question feels loaded with more weight than Jake intended. I think about Callie's careful distance, about the way she looks at me like she's already saying goodbye. About Maisie asking why I don't come to the shop anymore, according to the text Callie sent me 3 days ago. The only real communication we've had all week. I think about my father's voice in my head, telling me that settling down is giving up. That real men keep moving, keep proving their worth. And I think about the way I felt wrapping gifts with Callie, the way Juniper Falls has started to feel less like a memory and more like home. But wanting something and deserving it are two different things. I type back, send me the details. Jake's response is immediate, awesome. I'll email everything over. This is gonna be great, man. Like old times, but better. I pocket my phone and drive back to the cabin in silence. That night, I sit at Uncle Ray's old kitchen table and pull up the job listing Jake sent. It's everything I said I wanted. Purpose, structure, helping people. A way to use my training for something good. The pay is enough to start fresh somewhere new, leave the ghosts behind. The smart choice. The safe choice. The choice that doesn't involve staying in a town where a woman looks at me like I'm already gone, where a little girl will learn one more time that people leave. I close my laptop and look out at the dark mountains, the stars bright above the pines. What would you do, Uncle Ray? I ask the empty cabin. The silence is my only answer. But somewhere in the quiet, I remember his voice. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay put and fight for what matters. Running's easy. Roots are hard. I pull out my phone and look at the photo from the tree lighting. The three of us, looking like we belong together. Looking like home. I should delete it. Move on. Stop torturing myself with a possibility that was never real. Instead, I sit there in the dark, caught between two futures, unable to choose.
Chapter 9. Callie. The community center looks transformed. Long tables covered in red cloth stretch the length of the room, laden with dishes from what seems like every household in Juniper Falls. The smell of ham and green bean casserole mingles with pine from the Christmas tree in the corner. Children run between tables, their excitement barely contained. It's the night of the gift giveaway. The culmination of weeks of angel tree preparation. I'm stationed at the registration table with Rose, checking families in and directing them to their assigned tables. My stomach has been in knots all evening, knowing Grant would be here. Knowing I'd have to see him after a week of careful avoidance. Callie, can you help in the kitchen for a moment? Rose touches my arm. We need someone to carry out the dessert trays, and Daniel's hands are full. Of course. I'm grateful for something to do with my hands, some task to focus on besides watching the door. The kitchen is controlled chaos. Daniel Hartman is orchestrating the final preparations like a maestro, while volunteers swirl around him with serving platters and utensils. Callie. Perfect. He gestures to a stack of dessert trays. These need to go on the back table. Careful, the bottom one has Sarah's famous peppermint bark, and if it tips, we'll have a riot. I'm maneuvering the trays through the swinging kitchen door when I collide with something solid. Strong hands catch my arms, steadying me. The trays wobble dangerously. Easy. I've got it. Grant's voice is close to my ear, and suddenly he's there, taking the top two trays, his hands sure and careful. Where are these going? Back table. I can't quite meet his eyes. Thank you. We navigate through the crowded room in silence, setting the desserts down carefully. When we turn to head back, we're face to face in the small space between tables, close enough that I can see the flecks of gray in his beard, smell the pine and winter air that clings to him. Hi, he says softly. Hi. The word comes out barely above a whisper. You've been avoiding me. I've been busy. Callie. His voice is gentle but firm. We both know that's not true. People swirl around us, laughing and talking, but it feels like we're in a bubble. Just us, and all the things I haven't said. I'm sorry, I finally manage. I needed some space to think. And have you? Thought about it? Too much. I try for a smile, but it feels wobbly. That's the problem. His expression softens. Can we talk? After this is over? Please? Before I can answer, Maisie's voice cuts through the din. Mama. Mr. Grant. She barrels toward us, wearing a red velvet dress and a headband with reindeer antlers. Behind her, Hazel follows with an amused expression. There you are. Mr. Grant, you promised you'd help handing out gifts, remember? We're about to start. Maisie grabs his hand without hesitation. You have to put on your elf hat first though. It's very important. Elf hat? Grant looks genuinely alarmed. Very important, Hazel confirms, producing a red and green hat with bells on the end. All the helpers wear them. It's tradition. I watch Grant's face cycle through several emotions. Resistance, resignation, and finally acceptance. He takes the hat and puts it on, the bells jingling softly. How do I look? He asks Maisie. Perfect. She beams up at him. Now you look like you belong with Christmas. The words hit me square in the chest. You belong with Christmas. With celebration, with family, with joy. With us. Better get to your station, Grant. Hazel's eyes twinkle. The children are getting restless. He glances at me one more time. Later? I nod, not trusting my voice. Maisie tugs him toward the gift distribution area, chattering about which presents are for which families. I watch them go, something aching in my chest. You know, Hazel says conversationally, that man drove to Charlotte yesterday. 3 hours each way, in the snow. Want to guess what for? I tear my eyes away from Grant and Maisie. What? He heard that one of our Angel Tree families needed a specialized medical device for their daughter. Insurance wouldn't cover it, and the local medical supply places were backordered. She pauses for effect. He tracked one down in Charlotte, paid for it himself, and drove it back so it could be part of tonight's giveaway. My throat tightens. He didn't tell me that. Of course he didn't. He doesn't do things for recognition, Callie. He does them because he can't help but try to fix what's broken. Her voice gentles. The question is, are you going to let him? She moves away to help with seating arrangements, leaving me standing there with tears pricking my eyes. The gift distribution is organized chaos. Families line up by number, and volunteers, Grant included, with his ridiculous elf hat, guide them to their assigned gifts. Each child's face lights up as they receive packages wrapped with care, each adult blinking back grateful tears as they accept help without shame. This is what we worked for. What Grant and I spent evenings wrapping gifts for, what the whole town came together to create. A moment of magic for families who needed it most. I watch Grant crouch down to hand a package to a small boy, maybe 5 years old. The boy whispers something, and Grant's entire face softens. He nods seriously, says something back, and the boy throws his arms around Grant's neck in an impulsive hug. Grant hugs him back carefully, like he's holding something precious. My vision blurs. He's good at that, Rose murmurs beside me. Being gentle with the ones who need it most. He is, I manage. Then I see Maisie in line, bouncing with excitement. She's not receiving gifts. We donated our Angel Tree wish to another family. But she's there to help hand out packages, to be part of the magic. When she reaches Grant's station, she doesn't just help. She slips her small hand into his, standing beside him like they're a team. Like this is where she belongs. Grant looks down at her, surprised, then his expression does something that makes my heart stop. It softens with such obvious affection, such unguarded care, that I can't breathe. He says something that makes her giggle. She leans against his side, completely comfortable, completely trusting. And for one fleeting, perfect moment, watching them together in the warm glow of Christmas lights, surrounded by laughter and community and joy, I can see it. The life we could have. The family we could be. Grant looks up and catches me watching. Our eyes meet across the crowded room, and the longing in his expression mirrors everything I'm feeling. What if Hazel's right? What if he could stay? Then reality crashes back. The conversation with Hazel about buyers already interested in the cabin. The deadline hanging over all of this like a sword. The fact that wanting something doesn't make it stay. I turn away before he can see the tears, busying myself with cleanup even though nothing needs cleaning yet. Rose touches my shoulder but doesn't say anything, just offers the silent comfort of presence. When I finally risk another glance, Grant is helping an elderly woman navigate through the crowd, Maisie still at his side. He's patient, attentive, kind. He fits here. In this town, with these people. With us. But fitting and staying are two different things. And I learned 3.5 years ago that the people who fit best in your life can still be taken away without warning. That loving someone with everything you have doesn't protect you from losing them. That some kinds of pain never fully heal, just learn to hide better. After the dinner winds down and families begin to leave, clutching their gifts and full bellies, Maisie finds me helping stack chairs. "Mama, did you see? Mr. Grant let me help with all the big families. And he said I was the best helper he's ever had." She's glowing, happiness radiating from every pore. "Can he come over for hot chocolate? Please? He worked so hard, and it's cold outside." I open my mouth to say no, to make an excuse, to keep my careful distance. Then I spot Grant across the room, removing his elf hat, looking tired and content and so heartbreakingly right in this space. And I remember Hazel's words, sometimes protection is just another word for fear. "Okay," I hear myself say. "But just for a little while." It's a school night. Maisie squeals and runs to tell him, and I stand there wondering if I'd just made a terrible mistake. Or if maybe I'm finally being brave enough to try. Grant looks up when Maisie delivers the invitation, his expression cycling through surprise to hope to something careful and guarded. He nods, says something to Maisie that makes her bounce with excitement, then looks at me. I manage a small smile. "It's all I can offer right now." He smiles back, and even from across the room, I can feel it like warmth. Like hope. Like the most dangerous thing in the world.
Chapter 10. Grant. Callie's house is exactly what I expected. It feels warm, lived in, and is filled with the small touches that make a space a home. Maisie's artwork covers the refrigerator. Throw blankets are draped over the couch. A bookshelf overflows with picture books and novels, and there's a slightly crooked string of Christmas lights framing the window. It's the kind of place I didn't know I was missing until I stepped inside. "Make yourself comfortable," Callie says, hanging up our coats. "I'll get the cocoa started. Maisie, why don't you show Mr. Grant your penguin project?" "Okay." Maisie grabs my hand, pulling me toward the dining table where a poster board is covered in pictures and facts about emperor penguins. "See? This is what we've been learning about. Did you know the dads take care of the eggs while the moms go hunting?" "I didn't know that." I crouch down to examine her work. The drawings are careful, the facts written in her neat handwriting. "This is really impressive, Maisie. Miss Williams says I might win the science fair." She points to a particularly detailed drawing. "I worked really hard on it." "I can tell." From the kitchen, I hear the clink of mugs, the hiss of milk being heated. Callie's humming something soft and off-key, and the domesticity of it all makes my chest ache. This is what I've been running from my whole life. Not because I didn't want it, but because I didn't think I deserved it. "Mr. Grant?" Maisie's looking at me with those perceptive eyes. "Are you okay? You look sad." "I'm not sad. Just thinking." "About what?" "About how I could have this. About how I'm terrified to try. About how lucky your mom is to have such a smart, kind daughter." She beams at that, then tilts her head. "Are you going to stay in Juniper Falls?" The question catches me off guard. "I haven't decided yet. Mama says you're leaving. That you have to sell your uncle's house." She traces the outline of a penguin with her finger. "But I think you should stay." The words hit me right in the chest. Before I can figure out how to respond, I hear Callie's footsteps approaching from the kitchen. "So tell me more about this fact," I say quickly, pointing to a statistic about penguin diving depths. 20 minutes underwater? That's incredible. Maisie latches onto the subject change immediately, launching into an explanation just as Callie appears with 3 mugs of cocoa, each topped with marshmallows and a candy cane. "What are we talking about?" she asks, her voice carefully light. "Penguins can hold their breath for 20 whole minutes." Maisie says enthusiastically. "Isn't that amazing?" "Very amazing." Callie hands us our mugs, and when her eyes meet mine over Maisie's head, I can tell she knows we were talking about something else. But she doesn't push. We settle into the living room, Maisie between us on the couch, chattering about school and Christmas and her upcoming pageant. Callie's guard is still up, but she's softer here, in her own space. More herself. The sheep costume is almost done, she tells me. I just need to reinforce a few cotton balls. Very important work, I say seriously. Mock me all you want, but when those cotton balls stay attached during the entire performance, you'll be impressed. I'm already impressed. Our eyes meet over Maisie's head, and something passes between us. An acknowledgement, maybe, that this, the three of us here, cocoa and Christmas lights and easy conversation, matters more than either of us wants to admit. Maisie yawns, trying to hide it behind her hand. Bedtime, little penguin, Callie says gently. School tomorrow. But Mr. Grant just got here. Mr. Grant will be here when you're done with your bath. Go on, I'll be up in a minute. Maisie drags her feet but goes, stopping to give me a quick hug first. Promise you'll stay till I say goodnight? I promise. She thunders up the stairs, and suddenly Callie and I are alone. The air shifts, grows heavier with everything we haven't said. Thank you for tonight, she says quietly. At the gift giveaway. Hazel told me about the medical device. About driving to Charlotte. I shift uncomfortably. It wasn't a big deal. It was to that family. She sets down her cocoa, wrapping her arms around herself. You're good at that. Seeing what needs fixing and taking care of it. It's easier than the things I can't fix. Like what? Like the distance between us. Like the fear in your eyes when you look at me. Like whatever's broken inside me that makes staying feel impossible. Like most things that matter, I say instead. She's quiet for a moment, then, Grant, about this week. You don't have to explain. Hazel told me. About Owen, about how he died. About how scared you've been since. Pain flashes across her face. She had no right. She had every right. Someone needed to tell me why you looked at me like I was already gone. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. I get it, Callie. You're protecting yourself. Protecting Maisie. I can't fault you for that. Then why does it feel like you're angry with me? I'm not angry. I'm frustrated. Because I don't know what you want from me. The words come out rougher than I intend. You pull me close, then push me away. You invite me into your home, but you won't let me into your life. And I'm trying to respect your boundaries, but I don't even know where they are anymore. She stands abruptly, moving to the window. I don't know either. That's the problem. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. I glance at it. Jake's name on the screen. I should ignore it, but he's called 3 times today. It might be important. I'm sorry, I should take this. I step toward the kitchen for privacy. It'll just be a minute. Callie nods, her expression unreadable. I answer in the kitchen, keeping my voice low. Hey, Jake. This isn't a great time. I know, sorry man. But I need an answer. The company's pushing for a decision. Are you in or out? I lean against the counter, running a hand through my hair. I don't know yet. Grant, come on. This is a great opportunity. What's holding you back? Everything. Nothing. A woman who's terrified of losing people and a kid who makes me want to be someone worth staying for. I need to wrap things up here, I hear myself say. The cabin, the volunteer stuff. I should have everything done by New Year's. So that's a yes? You're taking the job? I'm saying I'll have an answer by New Year's. That's all I can give you right now. Jake sighs. Fine. But if you say no, I need to know immediately so I can offer it to someone else. This position won't wait forever. I know. I'll call you before New Year's Eve. I promise. I hang up and turn to find Callie standing in the doorway. Her face is pale, her expression stricken. How long have you been standing there? I ask. Long enough. Her voice shakes. You're taking a job. You'll have everything wrapped up by New Year's. Callie, that's not what. That's exactly what it sounded like. She crosses her arms, protecting herself. You've already made your decision. You're just waiting for the right time to tell us. No, you don't understand. I was talking about the cabin repairs, about finishing the volunteer work. I haven't decided anything about the job. But there is a job. Somewhere else. That you're considering. She laughs, but it's bitter. I actually started to think. Think what? That maybe you'd stay. The words burst out of her, raw and angry. That maybe this thing between us was real enough to make you want to put down roots here. But you're already planning your exit, already counting down the days until you can leave. That's not fair. You're the one who's been pushing me away. Because I knew this would happen. Her voice rises, then she catches herself, glancing toward the stairs. When she speaks again, it's quieter but no less intense. I knew you'd leave, and I tried to protect us from this. But Maisie's already attached to you. Already asking when you'll come over again, when you'll help with her homework, when, her voice catches. She's already counting on you being here, and when you leave, I'm the one who'll have to pick up the pieces. Callie. No. She holds up a hand. I can't watch this happen again. Can't watch someone become important to her and then disappear. She swallows hard. She's already lost her father. I won't let her lose someone else she cares about. The words hit hard, but they're about Maisie, not about them. I never meant to hurt her. I know you didn't. But intent doesn't change the outcome. She wraps her arms around herself. She talks about you constantly. Mr. Grant says this, Mr. Grant showed me that. She's building you into her life, and when you're gone. She stops, pressing her fingers to her temples. I should have kept more distance. Should have said no to the wrapping sessions, to the wreaths, to tonight. This is my fault. It's not your fault for letting someone help you. It is if I knew better. She looks at me then, and her eyes are tired, resigned. I did know better. I knew you were temporary. I let myself forget. Callie, I haven't made any decisions. But you will. It's not a question. You'll decide to take that job, or some other job, and you'll leave. Maybe not this week or next week, but eventually. She moves to the door, her movements careful, controlled. It's better to end this now. Cleaner. There's nothing to end. I stop, because I don't know how to finish that sentence. Friends? More than friends? Something undefined that never got the chance to become real? Exactly. Her hand rests on the doorknob. We're volunteers who work together. That's all this was. From upstairs, Maisie calls again, more insistent. Mama! I'm ready! I have to go to her. Callie opens the door. Cold air rushes in. Thank you for everything you've done for the angel tree. I mean that. But I think it's better if we keep things simple from here on out. Simple. Professional. Distant. Everything we've been trying not to be for weeks. I was telling the truth, I say quietly. About not deciding. About the job. Okay. But her voice says she doesn't believe me. Good night, Grant. She closes the door gently. It's not a slam, just a quiet, final click that somehow feels worse. I stand on her porch for a long moment, listening to her footsteps on the stairs, Maisie's bright chatter about her penguin project, Callie's softer responses that I can't quite make out. Then I walk to my truck and drive back to the cabin, the warmth of her home already fading into memory.
Chapter 11. Callie. I'm closing the mistletoe market early on Christmas Eve. The last customer left an hour ago, and I've been moving through the motions ever since. Straightening wreaths that don't need straightening. Reorganizing ribbon that's already organized. Avoiding going home to Maisie's questions about why Mr. Grant doesn't come around anymore. The shop looks beautiful, at least. Evergreen garlands frame every window, white lights twinkle from every surface, and the mistletoe I hung over the door weeks ago still holds its place, waiting for a moment that will never come. I'm reaching to turn off the window lights when I hear it. Singing. I freeze, my hand on the switch, listening. It's faint at first, growing louder. Multiple voices in harmony, the words familiar. Silent night, holy night. Carolers. We get them sometimes during the season, groups from the church or school wandering through town spreading Christmas cheer. I should let them pass, should finish closing up and go home. But something makes me move to the door instead. The voices are closer now, right outside. Through the frosted window, I can see 5 or 6 people bundled in coats and scarves, their breath fogging in the cold air. And at the front, holding a small wrapped package, is Grant. My heart stops. He's wearing the heavy jacket I've seen him in dozens of times, a dark blue scarf wound around his neck, and snowflakes catching in his red blonde hair. The porch light catches his face, highlighting the nervousness there, the hope. The carolers finish their song, and in the sudden silence, Grant steps forward. I open the door before I can talk myself out of it. "Hi," he says softly. "Hi." My voice comes out barely above a whisper. "What are you doing here?" "I need to talk to you. And I figured you couldn't slam the door on me if I brought backup." He gestures to the carolers, who I now recognize. Sarah from the Copper Kettle, Rose and Daniel from the community center, even Hazel with her bright eyes twinkling. "You recruited carolers?" Despite everything, I feel a smile tugging at my lips. Hazel recruited them. I just provided the motivation. He holds out the package. "Can I come in? Please? Just for a few minutes." I should say no. Should protect what's left of my bruised heart. But it's Christmas Eve, and he's standing on my doorstep with carolers and a wrapped gift and an expression that makes my chest ache. "Okay," I whisper. The carolers wave and disperse, their job done. Grant steps inside, and I close the door behind him, suddenly aware of how small the shop feels with just the two of us. "You didn't have to do this," I say. "Yes, I did." He sets the package on the counter, then runs a hand through his hair, scattering snowflakes. "I've been trying to figure out what to say for 3 days. Practiced a whole speech. But now that I'm here, all I can think is how badly I messed this up. Grant. Let me finish. Please." He takes a breath. "That night, when you overheard my phone call? I was talking about finishing the cabin repairs. About wrapping up the volunteer work. Not about leaving. I haven't decided anything about that job." "That's not the same as saying you're staying," I remind him. "I know." He moves closer, and I can smell pine and winter air clinging to him. "I've spent my whole life leaving, Callie. Moving from base to base as a kid, deployment after deployment in the army. I got good at packing up and moving on. Got good at not letting people matter too much because mattering hurts when you have to leave." My throat tightens. "Grant. But then I came back here, and I met you. Well, met you again. And I tried to tell myself it was temporary, that I was just passing through. But then there was wrapping paper and hot chocolate and your daughter talking about penguins like it's the most important thing in the world." His voice roughens. "And somewhere between the angel tree and the cemetery and watching you create beauty out of nothing, I stopped wanting to leave." "You stopped wanting to leave," I repeat carefully. "Or you're staying?" "I'm staying." The words are firm, certain. I called Jake and turned down the job. Called the realtor and took the cabin off the market. It needs more work anyway. Uncle Ray would want it lived in, not sold to strangers who may only come to stay for Christmas vacation. Hope flares in my chest, dangerous and bright. "You're staying," I whisper. "If you'll let me." He picks up the package from the counter. I got Maisie something. A set of those nature documentary books she mentioned. The ones about Antarctica with the emperor penguins. Thought she'd like them for her research. He pauses. I also got you something. He hands me the package, and my hand shakes slightly as I unwrap it. Inside is a snow globe, but not the cheap tourist kind. This one is handcrafted, the glass thick and clear, the base made of dark wood. And inside, rendered in perfect miniature detail, is Juniper Falls town square. I recognize every building. Novel Sips with its floor-to-ceiling windows. The Copper Kettle's cheerful awning. Brooks General Store. And there, on the corner, so small and perfect it makes my eyes sting, is the Mistletoe Market. Where did you find this? I breathe. I didn't find it. I commissioned it. He touches the wooden base gently. Grant. Tears blur my vision. This must have cost. It doesn't matter what it cost. He tips my chin up gently so I have to meet his eyes. You were right about me being scared. About running because it's easier than staying. But I'm done running, Callie. I want to be here. I want to help Maisie with her homework and fix things in your shop and learn to wrap presents with the right amount of character. What about your father? About proving yourself? I spent my whole life trying to be what he wanted. Trying to earn his approval by being tough and distant and always moving forward. His thumb brushes my cheek, wiping away a tear. But that's not living. That's just existing. You and Maisie showed me what living actually looks like. We're a lot of work, I warn, but my voice wavers. Maisie asks a million questions. I'm terrible at letting people help. We have dance recitals and school projects, and sometimes we eat cereal for dinner because I'm too tired to cook. I know. His smile is soft, real. And I want all of it. The questions and the projects and the cereal dinners. I want to be there for the sheep costume disasters and the penguin presentations. I want to be someone Maisie can count on. Someone you can count on. I'm scared, I whisper. I'm so scared of losing someone again. I know. And I can't promise that nothing bad will ever happen, because life doesn't work that way. His hand cups my face now, gentle and sure. But I can promise I'm not going anywhere. I'm here, Callie. I'm choosing you. The words break something open inside me. All the fear and careful distance I've been hiding behind for 3.5 years. I'm choosing you too, I breathe. His smile transforms his whole face, making him look younger, lighter. Yeah? Yes. I set the snow globe down carefully. But if you hurt my daughter, I won't. The certainty in his voice steadies something in me. I promise you, Callie. I won't. He's standing so close now I can feel the warmth of him, can see the way snowflakes are melting in his hair. His eyes drop to my mouth, then back up, a question in them. I answer by closing the distance between us. The first touch of his lips is gentle, tentative, like he's afraid I'll pull away. But I don't pull away. I lean in, my hands finding the front of his jacket, pulling him closer. He makes a sound low in his throat and deepens the kiss. His lips are cold from the winter air but warm underneath, and he tastes like peppermint, like possibility, like every Christmas wish I've been too afraid to make. One hand slides into my hair, cradling the back of my head with a tenderness that makes my knees weak. The other settles at my waist, pulling me flush against him. I can feel his heart beating against my chest, rapid and strong. Can smell pine and wood smoke and something distinctly him, clean and masculine and safe. The world narrows to this moment. His mouth on mine, his hands gentle but sure, the sound of our breathing mingling in the quiet shop. When we finally break apart, we're both breathing hard. His forehead rests against mine, and I feel him smile. I've wanted to do that for weeks, he murmurs. Why didn't you? Wasn't sure you'd want me to. His thumb traces my cheekbone. Wasn't sure I deserved to. You deserve it. I pull back just enough to meet his eyes. You deserve all of it, Grant. The staying and the roots and the family. You deserve to be happy. His eyes shine with something that might be tears. So do you. We stand there for a long moment, forehead to forehead, breathing each other in. Outside, snow falls softly, covering the world in white. Inside, surrounded by Christmas lights and the scent of pine, something new is beginning. Something that feels an awful lot like home. I should probably get home, I say reluctantly. Maisie will be wondering where I am. We have cookies to put out for Santa, stockings to hang. Can I come? The question is tentative, hopeful. I mean, if it's too soon, I understand. But I have Maisie's present, and I thought. Yes. I don't even have to think about it. Yes, come home with me. His smile could light up the whole town. I pull out my phone and text Hazel, who volunteered to watch Maisie while I closed up the shop. On my way home. Bringing a friend. Her response is immediate, about time. We're making Christmas cookies. Take the scenic route if you need to. I can practically hear her satisfied chuckle through the phone. I lock up the shop quickly, and we walk to my car through the falling snow. He follows me in his truck, and the drive home feels different than it has in days. Lighter. Full of possibility instead of dread. When we pull up to my house, I see Hazel's silhouette in the window, and then Maisie's face appears beside her. She must have been watching for me. Hazel opens the door as we hurry up the walk, Maisie bouncing beside her in her penguin pajamas. Mama. Mr. Grant. Maisie's eyes are wide with excitement. You came back. Thank you so much, Hazel, I say. My pleasure, dear. We had a wonderful time. She winks at Grant, her charm bracelet jingling as she gathers her coat. Merry Christmas to you both. I expect a full report after the new year. She slips past us into the snowy night, and Maisie immediately throws herself at Grant the moment the door closes and he catches her easily, lifting her up. I got you something, he says, pulling the wrapped stethoscope from his pocket. Merry Christmas. She tears into it with the enthusiasm only a 7-year-old can muster, and her gasp of delight when she sees what it is makes my chest ache. The penguin books. Mama, look, there's pictures of the babies and everything. She immediately starts flipping through pages, her eyes wide. This one shows how deep they can dive. I thought you could use them for your science project, Grant says, crouching down to her level. Maybe add some new facts. Thank you. She hugs the books to her chest, then looks up at him with those perceptive dark eyes. This is the best present ever. Well, except for the one Santa's bringing. She pauses, studying his face the way she does when she's working something out. Mr. Grant? Are you staying? Like, really staying? He glances at me, then back at her. I'm hoping your mama will let me stick around. Not just for Christmas, but for a long time. Maisie tilts her head, considering. Like, you'd live here? In Juniper Falls? Yeah. I'd live here. And we could see you all the time? Not just at the shop? All the time. She looks at me, her dark eyes searching. Mama? What do you think, baby? I kneel down beside her. Would that be okay with you? Can he come to my pageant? I'm a sheep. Grant's expression is so tender it makes me want to cry. I wouldn't miss it. And help with my science project? Absolutely. And? She hesitates, then plunges ahead. Maybe play games with us? Like families do? I'd love that, Grant says softly. Maisie throws her arms around both of us, pulling us into a three-way hug that's awkward and perfect. Best Christmas ever, she declares. Over her head, Grant's eyes meet mine. There's a question in them, and hope, and something deeper that makes my heart skip. Best Christmas ever, I agree. And for the first time in 3.5 years, I let myself believe in happy endings again.
Epilogue. Grant. Christmas Eve in Juniper Falls, 1 year later. The mirror in Uncle Ray's cabin reflects a man I barely recognize. Not because I look different, Sure, the suit is new, dark gray with a pine sprig boutonniere that Lila Bloom insisted would bring the whole look together. It's more that the expression on my face is unfamiliar. Open. Happy. Settled in a way I never thought possible. My phone buzzes on the dresser. A text from Callie. Maisie wants to know if you're nervous. I smile and type back, terrified. In the best way. 3 dots appear. Good. Me too. See you soon. I love you. I love you too. The words still feel new, even after a year of saying them. A year of Sunday dinners and homework help and science project challenges. A year of learning what home actually means. I adjust my tie, then force myself to leave it slightly loose. Character, Callie would say. Everything needs character. A knock at the door. You decent in there? Come in, Hazel. She sweeps in wearing a deep purple dress, her charm bracelet jingling. Well, don't you clean up nice? She circles me, examining the suit with a critical eye, then nods in approval. Perfect. Though I have to say, I like you better in that ridiculous elf hat. I laugh. That was one time. One memorable time. Her expression softens. Your uncle would be so proud of you, Grant. Not just for the wedding, but for everything. For staying. For building a life here. My throat tightens. I wish he could have seen this. Seen us become a family. Oh, he would have loved every minute of it. She pats my arm. Ray used to talk about you every time he came into town, you know. How proud he was of his nephew serving overseas. How he hoped someday you'd come back and fill this cabin with the life it was meant to have. Her eyes shine. He was saving it for you. He just didn't live long enough to tell you so himself. I glance around the renovated cabin. Uncle Ray's fishing gear still hangs on the wall. His woodworking tools still fill the shop out back. And soon, Callie's wreaths will hang by the door, Maisie's penguin drawings will cover the fridge, and this place will be exactly what Ray wanted it to be. A home. We should head out, Hazel says, checking her watch. Can't keep your bride waiting. Hazel? I stop her at the door. Thank you. For the meddling, the matchmaking, all of it. I'd probably still be wrapping gifts with hospital corners if it weren't for you. She laughs, her eyes bright. Oh, sweetheart. I just gave you a little push. You did the hard part. You chose to stay. The waterfall is transformed. White lights are strung through the bare branches of the surrounding trees, casting a warm glow over the snow-covered rocks. Wooden benches are arranged in rows, filled with familiar faces. Sarah and Rose are here, Daniel and the whole community center crew, Jake and Cole Merrick, even my buddy Jake who flew in from Colorado to be my best man. And there, standing near the front, is my mom. She made the trip from Arizona by herself. Dad claimed his back was acting up, which we both know is code for I don't approve, but I'm not going to say it out loud. But she's here, beaming at me with tears already streaming down her face. The small string quartet begins to play, and everyone stands. First comes Maisie, wearing a deep green velvet dress and carrying a basket of white rose petals. She scatters them with serious concentration, her dark curls bouncing with each step. When she reaches the front, she gives me a huge grin and a thumbs up. I wink at her, my heart so full it aches. Then the music shifts, and Callie appears at the top of the path. My breath catches. She's wearing a simple ivory dress that flows like water, a wreath of evergreen and white berries in her blonde hair. She's not being given away. Instead, she chose to walk herself down the aisle. It's her face that undoes me. The joy there, the certainty, the love written across every feature. She's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Hi, Callie whispers, her eyes shining. Hi. My voice comes out rough. You look. Don't make me cry, she warns, but she's smiling. We haven't even started. The pastor clears his throat and begins. The traditional words wash over us, beautiful and timeless, but I'm barely listening. I'm too busy looking at Callie, at the way the lights catch in her hair, at the way she's looking at me like I'm everything she's been waiting for. Grant and Callie have chosen to write their own vows, Pastor Williams says. Grant, whenever you're ready. I take her hands, my thumbs tracing circles on her wrists. Callie, a year ago I came back to this town thinking I was just passing through. Thinking I'd fix up a cabin, tie up loose ends, and move on to whatever came next. But then I saw you and you reminded me what it means to have roots. What it means to build something real instead of just passing time. Her eyes are already bright with tears. You showed me that home isn't a place, it's people. It's wrapping gifts until you run out of tape, and delivering wreaths in the snow, and learning that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay. I glance at Maisie, who's watching with rapt attention. You and Maisie gave me a family when I didn't think I deserved one. A place to belong when I'd convinced myself I was meant to wander. And I promise you, both of you, that I will spend the rest of my life proving that staying was the best decision I ever made. Callie's crying now, not even trying to hide it. She squeezes my hands and takes a shaky breath. Grant Camden, you walked into my life when I convinced myself I was fine alone. That protecting my heart meant closing it off. But you were so patient, so gentle, so determined to help even when I kept pushing you away. She laughs through her tears. You fixed my ceiling hooks and wrapped presents and showed my daughter what it means to have someone who shows up. Who keeps their promises. Who stays. Her voice breaks on the last word, and I squeeze her hands. You taught me that loving again doesn't mean forgetting what I've lost. It means honoring it by being brave enough to open my heart one more time. And I promise you that I will love you with everything I am. On the easy days and the hard ones. Through Christmas pageants and home repairs and everything in between. You are my home, Grant. And I choose you. Every single day, I choose you. There's not a dry eye in the clearing. Even Jake is wiping at his face, trying to be subtle about it. Pastor Williams smiles. The rings? Maisie very importantly produces 2 simple gold bands from the depths of her basket. We'd let her help pick them out, and she'd chosen simple gold bands. They don't need to be fancy, she'd said seriously. We slide them on each other's fingers, the metal cool and solid and real. By the power vested in me, Pastor Williams says, his voice warm, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Grant, you may kiss your bride. I cup Callie's face in my hands, thumbs brushing away her tears. I love you, I whisper. I love you too. Now kiss me before I cry harder. I do. Her lips are soft and warm despite the cold, and she tastes like the peppermint chapstick she wears. She makes a small sound of happiness against my mouth, and her hands slide up to grip my shoulders. The world narrows to this. My wife in my arms, our daughter standing beside us, our community surrounding us with love and support. When we break apart, the clearing erupts in applause. Maisie throws her arms around both of us, and we lift her up between us, the 3 of us laughing and crying and holding each other tight. Best Christmas ever, Maisie declares. Again, Callie and I say in unison, and everyone laughs. The reception at the community center is exactly what we wanted. It's simple, warm, full of the people who matter. Long tables covered in white cloths, evergreen centerpieces with white candles, and food provided by half the town. Sarah's famous hot chocolate. Daniel's catered appetizers. A wedding cake from Rising Hearts Bakery that Leah somehow made look like a winter wonderland. But the best part, the thing that makes this day perfect, is the angel tree set up in the corner. Our first official act as a married couple, Callie says, threading her fingers through mine as we approach it. Ready? Ready. The tree is already decorated with paper angel ornaments, each one bearing a child's wish for Christmas. The same project that brought us together, now marking our beginning as a family. Maisie bounces over, carrying the first ornament. A special one we had made, with all 3 of our names and the date. Can I hang it? Go ahead, sweetheart, Callie says. Maisie reaches up, tongue poking out in concentration, and carefully places the ornament on a prominent branch. She steps back, examining her work, then nods in satisfaction. "Perfect," she announces with a huge grin, "best Christmas ever." Again. The room erupts in laughter and agreement. Someone cranks up the music, and suddenly people are dancing, talking, celebrating. Mom pulls me into a tight hug, whispering how proud she is. Hazel winks at Callie and says something about knowing all along. Jake claps me on the back and asks when we're going to produce some kids for his children to play with. But through it all, I keep coming back to Callie. My wife. Dancing with Maisie, laughing with Rose, looking at me across the room like I'm her whole world. Eventually, I make my way back to her, pulling her into my arms for a slow dance even though the song is anything but slow. "Happy?" I murmur against her hair. "So happy." She leans back to look at me. "Are you? No regrets about turning down that job? About staying?" "Not even one." I brush a kiss to her forehead. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Through the windows, snow begins to fall in fat, lazy flakes that catch the light and drift down like magic. The community center hums with laughter and love, with the sound of people who chose to show up for us, who welcomed me home. Maisie appears at our side, tugging on my sleeve. "Can we go look at the tree one more time? I want to read all the wishes." "Of course." I scoop her up, settling her on my hip, and we walk over to the angel tree with Callie beside us. The three of us stand there, reading wishes and making plans for shopping trips and wrapping sessions. Maisie points out which one she wants to help with. Callie's already making mental lists, organizing by age and interest. And me? I'm just standing here with my wife and daughter, watching snow fall outside and lights twinkle inside, feeling more at home than I ever thought possible. "You know what?" Maisie says suddenly. "I'm glad you stayed, Dad." The word comes out naturally, like she's been practicing it. I'm really, really glad. My throat closes up completely. It's the first time she's called me that, and the weight of it, the trust, the love, the acceptance, nearly brings me to my knees. "Me too, kiddo." I kiss the top of her head, my voice rough. "Me too." Callie slides her arm around my waist, leaning into me. Her wedding ring catches the light, a perfect match to mine, stars hidden on the inside where only we know they exist. "Merry Christmas, Grant," she whispers. "Merry Christmas, Callie." And as snow continues to fall outside, covering Juniper Falls in white, we stand together surrounded by the love of a town that gave me a second chance. The chance to choose staying over leaving. To choose love over fear. To choose home.
The end. This has been Home for Christmas. Written by Susanne Ash. Copyright 2025 by Susanne Ash. Production copyright 2025 by Susanne Ash. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe if you want me to put more of my books on YouTube. Visit my website at www.susanneash.com for more of my books or find me on Amazon.